The blonde kid is over there, breathing like crazy and saying that this really was the toughest challenge in this dungeon. The creature known as Cerberus, level 67. This thing's no joke. The monster starts charging up with fireball, and the whole party's getting ready to die. The little dwarf even warns them. This time, he's not sure if his skill's gonna be able to block it. But then, all of a sudden, his expression changes and he goes, "Wait, what's that over there?" What looked like a goblin was walking straight toward the dragon all by itself. Everyone's kind of thrown off, especially with the monster getting ready to attack. But that little goblin is licking a piece of wood. The guys are trying to figure out what it's even doing there. The dragon fires off the fireball, and the goblin leaps toward it, smiling. With one swing of its mace, it's like the dragon just got vaporized. The whole party's stunned, trying to understand how that thing got killed with a single attack. Not only did it die, but literally there was nothing left of the dragon except the stumps of its legs. Why would a monster be attacking another monster? Did someone summon that thing? The dwarf points up and tells them to take a look on top of the mountain. There's someone standing there. And sure enough, the kids got this weird little smile. They're all convinced he's the one who summoned that goblin. But then it cuts to our boy hauling around a sack of cement, asking where he's supposed to put it. Right away, it's obvious. Our guy works in construction. Just like you'd expect, he's weak as hell, and he sees himself as a goblin. That's because he can't get out of low-level dungeons, just like how goblins are always stuck in the beginner ones. Some people win the lottery, some are born rich, some are born good-looking. And then there's him, born to be the goblin of the human world. No talent, barely gets any experience, and his life's a total mess. Suddenly, someone next to him asks if he's ever heard of Mr. Cha. Word is this guy's been playing Gate of the Gods and hasn't shown up to work ever since. Some older dude saying it sounds like this Cha guy landed a secret class and turned his whole life around. Gate of the Gods is a virtual reality game that's been getting a ton of hype lately. The experience is insanely real. So real that people actually forget about real life while playing. Come on, artificial intelligence, bring that to me already. The tech was still brand new and cutting edge, but thanks to all the PC cafes spread around Korea, even someone broke down on his luck and totally screwed like him could play a little. And obviously, with demand inside the game being so massive, the in-game currency started gaining real value. People were throwing a ton of real-world money at items from that world. Fittingly, Gate of the Heavens became a total game changer, a game that flipped everything on its head. Our guy used to enjoy this kind of thing. Because there he is now, pulling off his ultimate move. His big finishing move is mining some rocks. He lands a solid hit and gets 3 minerals. Right away, he's got his hands on his head like, how is this even possible? His class, his talents, they're so bad that he actually loses money playing. He can't even earn enough to pay for the damn VR capsule he's renting. Where's that part of the game where he's a legendary hero, surrounded by a party full of gorgeous women, and ends up marrying one of them? The game's called Gate of the Heavens, so why the hell is he stuck in this nightmare? But everything changed the moment he found an advanced healing crystal, something worth at least 300,000 won. He gives it a big ol' lick and starts celebrating, saying that now, finally, his life is about to turn around. But while he's busy slaughtering all over it, someone calls out to him. He glances to the side, and the only thing he notices is, damn, she's really hot, and her thighs are massive. She's standing there saying he seems like a pretty skilled miner. She's seen him here every day, right? By any chance, does he have a high mining skill? Turns out, her team's stuck in this dungeon with a massive rock blocking the way. Problem is, none of them have the skills to break it. That's why she was looking for a talented miner like him. He quickly admits his skill is actually pretty low, and if they're planning on going into a dungeon safely, they'll have to take out all the monsters first. The dwarf tells him not to worry. He'll handle all that, just follow along. Our guy finds it kind of funny that a dwarf is asking him for mining help. But then the knee kisser in the group pipes up and goes, hey, just cause he's a dwarf doesn't mean he automatically knows how to mine. That's stereotyping. Our boy, though, is more lost in thought. If he joins up with this group, maybe he can pick up some decent experience and farm a few minerals on the side. The only issue is, would he actually be safe going that deep into a dungeon like this? Sure, in this game you can get revived, but there's one tiny little catch, and it's not exactly pleasant. Right at that moment, Miss Thighs grabs his arm and gives it a lick, saying she needs strong, muscular arms like his, arms that mine with real power. Of course, that was way more than enough to rattle him. Now he's standing there shaking, trying to figure out how the hell he even ended up in this situation. In front of him is a little gray wolf, level 7, not that high, really, but the poor guy just can't seem to level up, no matter what. Now he's completely surrounded and about to crap himself when suddenly, just as the thing's about to bite, Miss Thighs yells for him to duck and boom, unleashes a barrage of fire that does 3,000 damage and evaporates the wolves completely. And she comes over all sweet and bubbly, asking if he's okay, if he's hurt or anything. Catherine Lee, a level 39 mage. Flustered, he says, yeah, he's fine, thanks to her. Meanwhile, he's still stunned that she wiped out an entire pack of wolves in a single hit. She does this cute little dramatic bit, saying she got scared she might lose him by her side, so he should stick real close to her. The place is dangerous after all, And just like that, he's bright red head to toe. Finally, his chance at some romance in the game. Another guy in the group, dodging some wolves, tells him not to be surprised. Normally, they wouldn't even bother coming into an easy dungeon like this. One swing of his whip, and bam, the wolves are gone too. He explains that they're only there because of a strange kind of ore that can only be broken by people with high-level mining skills. Obviously, they all ignored that skill because it's something for idiots. All they care about is leveling up and wasting time hitting rocks. That's beneath them. That's why they needed help from someone like him. Now that didn't sit right with our boy. He's sitting there trying to figure out what the hell that guy meant by someone like him. Apparently, they all saw him as a total idiot, which couldn't be more wrong because those bastards wouldn't even get past this part if it weren't for him. So he walks up behind them and says he's not just gonna let that slide. What the idiot thinks he doesn't have any combat skills. He whips out his pickaxe and launches into action, swinging down with everything he's got, helicopter style, BM right into the rock, and of course it doesn't do a thing. Turns out he really doesn't have any combat skills. There he is in full-on Minecraft mode, mumbling that unfortunately there's nothing he can do. The dwarf wants to know if the intel was accurate. The guy tells him not to worry, he's sure that whatever's behind those rocks will be worth it. But if it's not, they're all screwed for wasting their time in this hellhole. While he's bashing away at the rocks, our boy's thinking he really is an idiot, risking his life, getting bullied, all for some spare change. But then again, that's just how jobs are, even construction work is the same. So screw it, he keeps swinging. Another boring day, more smashing, more pickaxe swings, until finally the place opens up. Behind the minerals he cleared out, there was a hidden dungeon. Everyone's in shock, he's cheering, saying there's no way they just found something secret like that. Usually hidden dungeons are packed with special rewards and can even unlock secret classes. Together, they just found the golden gateway. Catherine Lee, the little traitor, asks, "Hey, what do you mean we?" And right then, the guy with the whip sneaks up behind him while our boy's still smiling, thinking his life's about to change. But boom, Sin mode gets activated. He takes a hit, smacks so hard he drops 480 HP and can't even breathe. Catherine comments that it's kinda crazy they needed a trash miner like him to even find this hidden spot, but hey, it worked. She tells him not to hate them, but unfortunately, since they did all the fighting and he just broke rocks, he doesn't get to keep any of the rewards. At that moment, the protagonist realizes they knew about the hidden dungeon all along. They planned to kill him from the start. The other guy grabs him by the hair and says of course they knew, like they'd waste time with trash like him if they weren't 100% sure. And yeah, looks like he got hit again. His body's flying through the air, spinning like a rag doll. A little while later, he opens his eyes, confused. Why is he still in the dungeon? Last thing he remembers, the bastard killed him, or maybe just knocked him out cold. Were they actually more decent than he thought? Not even close. It was the advanced healing crystal. It restored his HP to full when it hit 0. The problem is, the item breaks after it's used. So right then, the 300,001 he was about to make, gone. He slams the ground, shouting, trying to figure out where his money went. But then he notices, at that exact moment, the secret door is still open, which means the dungeon isn't over yet. And there's no way in hell he's walking out of there after those bastards made him lose his crystal. He knows he won't be able to clear the dungeon himself, but damn it, he'll do whatever he can to screw them over too. They'd better be ready, because the nightmare is coming. Our boy dives in, but turns out it's a staircase, and he falls, losing 80 HP. At least he made it inside in time, and yep, no doubt about it, this is the secret dungeon. In front of him stands the Goblin Sanctuary, and he wants to know, why the hell is that smug little freak sitting on that throne with that arrogant grin? Still, he's pretty sure. If this is a goblin dungeon, it probably won't be anything too serious. He figured something secret would be way harder than this. So how's he supposed to mess with those guys if they're just dealing with easy stuff? But something feels off, it's a little too quiet. So where's everybody? Out of nowhere, he trips on something, and when he looks down, it's the dwarf, covered in blood. The poor guy hadn't logged out, and he's still asking if our boy has any kind of revival skill. That would be real generous of him. Our guy notices the dude is holding down the logout button, probably trying to camp the spawn point in hopes of scoring some rewards. Truly a greedy little dwarf. Right then, the system throws a warning. This dungeon is extremely high level, way beyond his capabilities. He should leave immediately. His expression shifts, and then he hears a scream. It sounds familiar. He turns his head and sees the whip guy getting snatched up by something that looks straight out of Attack on Titan. And Catherine Lee, she's under the monster's foot, a level 80 creature named Jiger. Their whole party's around level 30, so there's absolutely no way they can take on something like that. And then, it doesn't just bite him. The thing spins its mouth and rips with its teeth. Our boy just listens to the sound of it, completely horrified. And here comes the tragic part. Plenty of games try to add realism, but Gate of the Heavens went way beyond. It implemented full-on sensory systems. And yeah, that includes pain. There are some safety protocols when monsters deal damage, sure, but it's a whole different story when the creature's dozens of levels above you. She begs for help. He just tells her to screw off. What the hell is he supposed to do against a level 80 monster? The worst part of this pain system, If a trauma hits your brain, it doesn't go away even after your character revives. And in extreme cases, it can even lead to brain death. They call it forced retirement. Now he's slipping away quietly, whispering that he wants no part of this. This wasn't his fault, and there's no way in hell he's gonna try to be a hero. Those bastards called him in. They can die there too. He's walking away all chill, saying what really matters to him is surviving, even if it's alone. But then, a message pops up above. The Goblin Lord has sensed an unusual affinity with your cowardice and weakness. Now he's crying, snot dripping, trying to figure out what kind of cursed nonsense this is, Goblin Lord. He looks up at the statue and yells, "What's this about calling me weak and cowardly? Like hell, he wants to be like this. He didn't choose to be powerless. If he had even a shred of strength, he wouldn't be trying to run." And just like that, Catherine Lee gets crushed. Our guy used to dream of working somewhere people didn't look down on him. He wanted to fight monsters, not spend his days mining rocks like it's freaking Minecraft. Seems like his relatives vanished and left him with a mountain of debt, and ever since, he hasn't gotten a single damn thing he wanted in this life. Looking completely wrecked, he says that damn goblin shouldn't be insulting him. He didn't do anything wrong. Who the hell does this smug little goblin think he is, judging him from that throne? He's had it. He's humiliated in real life. He's humiliated in the game. Now even this piece of crap boss is laughing in his face. Fine. He lives like a goblin already. So screw it. Right then, a message pops up. You'll become an honorary goblin. A goblin will assist you any time. He had just met the conditions for unlocking a secret class. The system wants to know, does he want to become a goblin summoner? Still snot-faced and confused, he's like, wait, what? A secret class? There's no way in hell he's accepting some cursed goblin class. It's literally the thing he hates most. But the system doesn't care. It just says his class has changed. Congratulations. Before he could even complain, that giant level 80 beast from earlier was already creeping up behind him. Now it was too late. No way he could run anymore. With no better option, he decides that since they handed him something, he might as well use it. Right away, he activates the goblin summon. He just hopes, please, for the love of everything, don't let it show up with some over-the-top flashy effect. And then it appears. This green, big-nosed goblin holding a tiny hammer. Just like our boy expected. Ugly, weak, and pathetic looking, perfect to throw away as a distraction so he can escape. He tells his lovely goblin to charge in and take down that monster. The level 80 beast lunges in to attack, and our boy's already turning around, saying it's time to run. But then the goblin deals 999,999,999 damage, plus more 9s on top, and instantly drops the monster. The face he makes when he realizes he has no clue what just happened. EXP explodes on screen and suddenly it's a level up spamfist. He even learns new skills. Feed goblin and travel with goblin. The monster's EXP gets shared and the little green guy's just scratching his head while also leveling up non-stop. Our boy is completely freaked out. How the hell did this ugly green thing manage to kill that monster? The look on his face says it all. This little freak apparently came in at max level. Cut to the real world. When that guy got bitten and the girl got stomped, she suddenly wakes up screaming in her room. A guy in a suit runs over to help and yanks off her headset. But it's too late. That kind of shock, you don't recover from it. It's what they call forced retirement. Back in the dungeon, the goblin's handing out 999s left and right. Our boy's leveling up like crazy while the green menace marches ahead. Big Nose is breaking everything in sight, and our protagonist yelling for him to chill. At this rate, he won't be able to gather all those nice little ores. Look at the name of this gremlin, Skim Chalsu. Yeah, that's why I kept calling him the protagonist, my boy, our boy. And now the guy's already hit level 31. He comments that the dungeon marked as cleared the moment his goblin took down that level 80 monster. But weirdly enough, since his whole party died, the only way he can leave is by dying too. Looks like the dungeon bug out somehow. At least the green guy's making the most of it. Not just killing everything, but mining y'all too. While the goblin hasn't gained a single level, our boy's already at 31. The only odd thing, there's no info showing up about this summon. But come on, after everything that thing just did, there's no way it's low level. Standing there, backpack on, he figures it must be a bug. And if it is a bug, then damn it, he better farm as much as possible before someone fixes it. He doesn't know what's going on. But this is the real gate of the heavens. Then the scene shifts to a bank. Someone calls out number 36 and tells our protagonist he's getting a total of 97,000. Wants to know if they can transfer it to his account. He says yeah. Turns out the game's so big now that you can literally walk into a bank and sell items to the staff. But he tells her he wants to send the money to a different account and also has a few more items to sell. He casually mentions he's selling a membrane in the heart of a Geiger, that level 80 monster. The woman freaks out, takes one look at the info, and straight up runs off, leaving him scratching his nose, confused why she bailed on him like that. Another guy comes over, offering tea, asking if he's enjoying himself. This dude, that's Nar, the bank manager. Our protagonist says the tea is freezing cold, and the guy apologizes, saying he forgot to boil it. But all our boy wants to know is who is this manager, and what does he want? He's only here to trade items for cash, that's it. But the bald guy says he believes there are better places for him to put his money, and he thinks our protagonist could make a lot more. Leaving all that in a regular bank account would be a waste. That's why he's here, to offer some investment opportunities. Our boy says he gets it, making money's important for everyone. But the manager really didn't have to show up personally to pitch him stuff. I mean, come on, he figures he probably made, what? Maybe $1 million tops. The bald guy, to his credit, is honest. He tells him, yeah, no. It looks like you have no idea how valuable the stuff you brought actually is. Turns out the heart and membranes of a Geiger are currently going for $220 million. Our boy straight up lifts the goblin in the air and shouts, 10%. This only covered 10% of my debt. Dear God, this kid owes an entire Korea to the Koreans. No way that's normal. How in the hell is 10% worth $220 million? He tries to say the goblin is adorable. Okay, not that adorable. Let's be honest. But you can't go around selling something like that and pretend it's nothing. Worst part is now he's walking through town with this weird little freak licking railings, and for whatever reason, he can't unsummon it. Naturally, everyone's staring, whispering, like, why is there a goblin walking through the city? What's going on? But hey, at least now he's not the ugliest thing walking around. That's a win. The goblin, though, just keeps yelling and yelling until suddenly he freezes. Someone goes, what the hell is that? It's a red-haired guy with a sword on his back asking why there's a monster in the city streets. Apparently the guy's name is Patton, the annihilator. Right away, our boy knows this guy must be strong, but also wonders, who the hell gave him that title? Someone chimes in and says, he gave it to himself. That's all he needed to hear. This guy is definitely not all there. Our protagonist tries to explain that the green guy isn't actually a monster, but Patton rushes in swinging anyway, only to get blasted straight in the face with a 99,999 and smacked into a wall, passed out cold. Everyone watching? Yeah, they all saw it. The annihilator just got annihilated. Now our boy's panicking because if people figure out he summoned that goblin, the whole city's gonna come after him. Suddenly, some blue-haired guy appears, saying that Patton's embarrassing himself again as usual. He adds that the goblin isn't even worth fighting. Also, hold up, who's that archer girl with the perfect aim? Our protagonist quickly realizes this is spiraling out of control. His goblin has officially become public enemy number 1. He tries to calm them down, saying he'll take care of the creature himself. But Yunyuk, the blue-haired guy, wants to know who he is and why he's interfering. Our guy keeps pleading with them, telling them all not to gang up on the goblin. I mean, how pathetic would it be for a whole squad to go after something so simple? But of course the goblin's just had enough. He grabs a rock and launches it straight into one of Yunyuk's teammates. 999, instant death. Bye-bye. And now the goblin and our boy are sprinting away. They can't stay here anymore. He thought having a max-level goblin would mean a bright future. Turns out, things aren't gonna be that easy. He's running through the city until an old guy opens a door, tells him to get in, and says he'll explain everything later. Our boy goes in, but wait, this dude has the title the Trickster. So now he's not sure if this guy's about to stab him in the back or what. Then, a system message pops up. The Goblin Lord is impressed you distracted your enemies so your goblin could land a hit. For your clever tactics, you gained goblin points. He remembers how that damn lord called him weak, vulgar, and worthless the first time they met. And now he's calling him a trickster. First of all, he didn't do anything wrong. So why the hell is he living like this? Why is everyone insulting him, even this damn goblin? It all started when those bastards added him to their party, betrayed him, and left him behind to die. So now he calls over his goblin, tells him to listen up. He's done being humiliated. He's done being called weak. From now on, they're going to destroy that guy's guild together. And honestly, he's way uglier than the goblin too. Meanwhile, up on the rooftops, that blonde chick is swaying side to side, asking if Umyuk really needs to come along just to kill that kid and his goblin. He tells her not to let her guard down. Patton might have been the weakest of them all, but he still got taken out with a single hit. There's definitely something off about that goblin. Right then, they hear a scream. The guy who tried to sneak up on our boy earlier suddenly drops dead right beside them. Before Yumio can say anything, the goblin is already at his side. He managed to react after all and went in for an attack, but it looks like the strike did 0 damage. That's when he remembers his friend getting hit with 99,999, and now he's sure this isn't some kind of bug. And now the goblin's closing in and he knows if he gets hit, he's done for. But Ji-Yin lets off a quick arrow just in time and manages to parry the attack. She yells at him to stop freaking out and getting himself killed by a goblin. Fat B beyond embarrassing. Yumio thinks to himself, of course it would. Everyone knows goblins are weak creatures. So how is this dumb little thing dealing millions in damage? He doesn't know what kind of trick that kid pulled, but he activates a skill called Extreme Wrath. It makes it 90% slower, but guarantees every attack will land as a critical hit. Ji-Yeon asks why he's going that far. It's just a goblin. He tells her to relax. It's only a passive skill, and it doesn't cost much anyway. Then he switches styles, drawing twin daggers. This one boosts damage but reduces critical hit chance. He starts setting up his combo, telling her to get ready. She agrees but says they should hurry up and end it. They can't let people see them using this much firepower on a goblin. She fires a rain of arrows while he charges in fully buff and ready. He calls out that the fun's over. The goblin's finished. He lands a clean strike, and it deals nothing. 0 damage. He freezes, confused. The goblin turns to look at him, and the next thing he knows, he's slammed into the wall with the same overwhelming force. From the shadows, our protagonist steps out and asks who said this would be over in one hit. The blonde girl looks shocked, trying to understand what this thing is. He tells her plainly, it's the goblin he summoned. She stares at him, stunned, asking how a goblin could have this kind of power. Yuk, supposedly one of the strongest in the Avilton Guild, steps forward. He tells her that's not her business right now. What matters is that he's angry. She asks what they even did to him, and he responds that it's her fault for being too irresistible. She stares, completely thrown off, and tells the pervert to back off. He waves it off, saying that's not what he meant. He's mad because they attacked him first, and now she's going to pay for it. She screams for help, calling him a creep. He realizes quickly that this situation is headed in the worst possible direction. He turns to the goblin and tells him to make her stop shouting. But at that moment, a few adventurers down the street call out, asking if anyone else hears yelling. One of them points up, recognizing him. Hey, isn't that the guy from earlier? The one with the goblin. Our boy looks around and realizes everyone's watching. It's time to get out of there. But the problem is, instead of silencing her in some clean way, the goblin's just standing there awkwardly, covering her mouth. The whole scene looks terrible. People immediately start shouting that the kid's using his goblin to kill members of the Avilton Guild, and now he's trying to attack a helpless girl. He's standing there, face completely blank, already knowing this is bad, really bad, and his name is already not looking too great on this server. He tells the goblin to stop and let the girl go. Strangely enough, the crowd doesn't seem to connect that he's the one who summoned the goblin. They actually think he's protecting her, bravely stepping up to face the creature that wiped out half a guild. The goblin backs off, and the blonde girl's left there sobbing, right next to our protagonist, who already realizes his life's over. No way he's getting out of this clean. The people down below start cheering for him, telling him not to give up now. They say he's the only one who can save her, and then he has to keep fighting bravely. The protagonist trying to figure out why everyone's suddenly cheering for him. That's when it hits him. These people didn't realize he was the one who summoned the goblin. Back when the goblin killed the first guy, he stepped forward and said he'd handle the creature and that nobody needed to worry. Then when the blonde girl was in danger, he jumped in again, saying it was all over now. In their eyes, he was a hero, risking his life to save a woman. Or better yet, saving her from a monster, which in this case was the little green guy. The only flaw in this heroic image, that blonde girl. And he's thinking, there's no way she wants to die in agony like her guildmates. So she better stay real quiet about him and that goblin. She just nods and promises she won't tell anyone. Then our boy calls out to the goblin and says how bold he is invading this peaceful town even though he's just a lowly monster. He says the suffering he's brought ends now. At that moment, he activates the goblin walk skill. A glowing chain appears and yanks the goblin down to ground level. He slams into the floor and our protagonist immediately starts running, dragging the goblin with him. Everyone watching is stunned. What kind of skill was that? A chain that could restrain a creature that had been slaughtering high-level players? But in reality, the skill doesn't do anything fancy. It literally just lets him walk around with a goblin, nothing else. The only thing it actually does is improve the goblin's mood. He gets a little happier when it's active. The blonde's watching from above, and the others assume that for him to be handling a creature this strong, he must be over level 50 at least. Our boy knows he can't exactly fake killing the goblin, so he switches tactics. He uses the feed goblin skill, throws his sausage way off into the distance, and tells the goblin to go fetch. Then he yells for the townspeople to close the gates. With the goblin locked outside, everyone inside hesitates, not sure if it's finally over. But he wipes his forehead, turns to them, and asks if everyone in the city is safe now. The townspeople cheer and he finally relaxes. Problem 1, handled. Then she shows up, the blonde, telling him all her guildmates were killed and respawned back at the starting zone. She's the only one who knows about his connection to that goblin. He glances back at her, and she's giving him this sweet, sincere look, swearing again she won't say a word. But he's not looking to take chances. He warns her. In the respawn zone, everyone's got infinite lives and is protected from players and monsters. But the moment you betray me, that's the only place you'll be able to live, because I'll kill you no matter where else you go. She's already crying, swearing she won't do anything. And with that, he's back home thinking to himself, this isn't exactly what he had in mind. He looks at this ridiculous goblin drawing and mutters that getting rewarded with a nice room for doing something good kinda makes him proud of his talents. Thinking back to that girl from earlier, he sighs and says it's a shame he didn't have the power to save her. She was, in his words, pretty hot. He gets up, remembering he earned that goblin point earlier. I'll start calling him by the name this system uses, Skim, since clearly no one's ever bothered to call him by his actual name anyway. He figures this point must work like a class point, and when he checks, he sees a goblin skill shop open. All the abilities are locked except one, so he buys it. The moment he uses it, the goblin appears right in his face and gives him a headbutt with that giant nose. That's when he realizes this first skill is more of a summon recall. It doesn't exactly summon the goblin from scratch, just pulls it closer when it's far away. The issue now, the goblin was supposed to be outside the city, not sitting in his room. People outside start knocking on the door asking if he's okay. He tells them he's fine, no need to worry. Then he turns to the goblin and says, "Hey, calm down, put that weapon away, and don't hit anyone." Sometime later, our boy says the goblin didn't really do anything wrong. Everyone's been treating him like trash, attacking him for no reason. The truth is, the two of them, they're exactly the same. But why the hell is he sleeping all cuddled up with his goblin? What kind of cursed situation is this? He mutters that this world really is full of people worse than any monster. Then the scene cuts to a pub. Someone greets yesterday's bastard, and when our protagonist walks in, the whole place greets him like a hero, the one who saved members of the Avilton Guild. Yumiuk tells him there was no reason to help, especially after he made it clear they were enemies, but still he's grateful. The guy in the hood behind them tells the blonde to calm down. He doesn't think the kid ever intended to fight, but she's shaking, terrified that Goblin might show up any second. Skim then says that, as they probably figured, he helped them even after they ignored him, because he needs something. The hooded guy replies that no matter what he wants, he should go ahead and ask. They can't just let a gesture like that slide from someone who saved one of their own. Skim explains that no matter how much he farms, he can't level up in the beginner's zone anymore. He's past level 30. He's heading for the next area, and he needs their help. Yumiuk asks if he's talking about Florindel. He knows someone perfect for that. Right then, an old guy at the table next to them chimes in, saying he's that person. And the look on Skim's face says it all. That's the same guy who stabbed him in the back. The guy tries to cover his name tag so Skim won't read it, but Skim already knows and demands to know what the hell he's doing here. The old guy tries to defuse it, saying it was all a misunderstanding. Now that he's heard Skim supposedly defeated that goblin alone, he's sure he's a lot stronger than he thought. Maybe even stronger than everyone else in that room. Most of them are level 28, but there's one guy in the corner. Skim's sure if that guy came at him, he wouldn't survive. The old guy starts explaining, in beginner zones like this one, there are 5 dungeons, like the grassland area with slimes, the mines, a forest, and so on. Places where players can go grind and level up. But if he wants to leave the Lev region, he has to clear a raid dungeon. Unlike the open dungeons, raid ones have timed gates. They only open and close at specific hours. Plus, they have a cap on how many people can go in and a limited number of attempts. Since they're the final challenge before advancing to the next region, most people prefer to grind and hit max level before entering. Yumiuk stands up and explains that the Lev Raid dungeon only opens once a month, and that's why they were all gathering at the pub the night before. Skim asks if this means what he's thinking, and the guy confirms it. That damn goblin completely ruined their plan, and now they're all stuck in Lev for the next month. Everyone turns to glare at Skim. If they're stuck, so is he. He made over $200,000 from that level 80 monster. His goblin is easily one of the strongest things in the game, but he's trapped here, doing nothing. Skim grabs Yumiuk and tells him to quit messing around. There has to be a way out. He can't afford to waste his precious time. But Yumiuk just shrugs and says everyone's already annoyed they're wasting time, and besides, he paid his debt by giving Skim that one tip. So that's it. He's out. The others leave, one by one. The blonde girl lingers for a moment, glancing at Skim, and then walks off, hips swaying. While everyone's heading out, guess who's still standing there? The goblin, just staring. Skim stares back. What's up with you? Big nose. Suddenly, the goblin seems confused, like he senses something coming from the forest. And just like that, a raid boss portal opens out of nowhere. A system message goes out to everyone, and no one has any idea how this is even possible. Yumiuk and Skim both have the exact same thought. What the hell is going on? Guys, I think this is the series with the longest chapters I've ever seen. I've only read 4 so far. What the hell? Patton, the redhead, is spooked that the thing actually showed up in just one day. Now everyone's gathered in front of the portal, and Yumiuk wants to know how many people have already gone in. The shady old guy says no one. That's because everyone who could enter already went through yesterday. That's both a good and a bad thing, because it means they'll be the only ones going through it now. Right then, our boy shows up, saying he knew it. They lied to him. They all told him he'd have to wait a month, just to betray him and leave him behind. He admits he was an idiot for trusting people just as messed up as he is, especially after everything he's been through. The blonde's panicking, insisting they didn't lie. This really is how things usually go. It's just that this time something was different. He looked ready to start a fight, but Yumiuk just says, yeah, something changed. Then he asks, so are you coming or not? Skim says of course he's coming. Like hell he's just going to sit around while they walk off with all the loot. Yumiuk thanks him but says there's something he needs to explain first. According to the info they got, they'll be facing the raid boss known as Reverend. That means the second they enter, they'll come face to face with it. Everyone's still pretty confident though because it's a boss slightly below their current level. So maybe they got this. Patton says their guild leader might not be around, but the rest of them are more than enough. They all jump in together, saying it'll be over in 10 seconds. Yumiak steps forward and calls the rest of the guild to follow. Skim turns to the goblin hiding behind a crate and tells him to stay hidden. It'd be a real problem if people found out they were working together. But no worries. This time he's keeping his eyes open. He won't be betrayed again like he was by that other girl. Oh, and look at that. He already bought another advanced healing crystal. Enough playing around. He sprints through the portal and enters the dungeon. Right as he steps inside, he finds himself face to face with a massive steel boss level 40, and everyone's running around in total panic. Something's off. This isn't what they were supposed to walk into. Yumiak turns and demands that the old guy explain what the hell is going on. The guy claims he has no idea why things changed. Shigen calls out to Kim Chulsu. Yeah, we finally learn our boy's real name, and tells him to run for the exit. But he turns and asks if she's kidding. Why is everyone trying to bail from a secret dungeon? Don't they know the kind of rewards a place like this offers? The others say yeah, they know. But the boss is level 40. There's zero chance they'll survive. Our boy tells them all to calm down. It's just a 10-level difference. That's nothing. Nobody's gonna be forced into retirement just because of a gap like that. Worst case, they spit up a little blood and wake up a few days later all beat up. Totally worth the risk. But clearly, no one agrees. They're already running for the exit. Skim doesn't waste time. He activates the rally skill to pull the goblin into the dungeon with him. But nothing happens. For some reason, it doesn't work. And the boss is charging straight at him. He keeps calling out to the goblin, panicked. Then suddenly, he gets hit with 4,800 damage and drops. Patton stares in disbelief, wondering how this idiot ever managed to beat that goblin. Yumiak admits he has no idea either. But right now, the only thing that matters is the portal's closed. Which is weird. Normally only raid gates close that quickly. The old guy speaks up, saying everyone underestimated the situation. A raid, no matter how unlikely, can also become a secret dungeon. Which means they weren't just fighting a normal raid boss. They were up against the boss of a secret raid dungeon. And now, they've got no choice but to fight. Kim, who's passed out, starts coughing up blood. This game is brutal. The pain from dying to a boss 10 levels above his own was way worse than he expected. And to make it worse, he completely forgot to spend his statue points. He just assumed the goblin would handle everything. The problem is he can't summon the goblin because the portal closed. He just can't believe he's about to miss out on such an amazing chance to rake in all those rewards. Yumiak, on the other hand, is hyped. He calls everyone over and tells them it's time to start the hunt. Kim's standing close, quietly watching and listening to everything. Then Jian drops a buff on everyone, boosting their speed across the board. The old guy's off to the side, telling everyone to keep up the attack sequence and try to figure out the boss's weaknesses. With the buffs they were getting from GM, there was no way they'd lose. The protagonist wonders why that guy won't just shut up and fight instead of standing there giving speeches. Two of the Vanguard members leap at the boss's leg and launch themselves toward its head. Yumiak uses a skill called Shadow Slash and Patton follows with his Chain Cut. They explain that every monster has at least one weak spot, and Chain Cut it's 16 different points, so it's basically guaranteed to find it. Yumiak asks if he found it, but Patton replies that, unfortunately, all his hits dealt 0 damage. That's when Yumiak says there are only two possible explanations. Either the defense is insanely high, or, before he can finish, the boss swings down with a heavy hit, Levi style, and lands 1,800 damage right on Yumiak's head. So yeah, that rules out the first option. The boss has 28,000 HP. Not that bad, honestly. Just land a few solid hits, and that's that. The second explanation is that the boss has a passive skill called Hatred of the Weak. Any attack that deals less than 5% of its total HP gets nullified completely. Patton mutters that they're screwed. Yumiak's the only one strong enough to break that 5% threshold against the level 40 boss. But the old guy disagrees. He says Yumiak isn't the only one with a top-tier skill. There's someone else who can trigger a finishing move under the right conditions. That's when she steps up, charging up Deathbringer's arrow. She sacrifices HP to draw in energy. The more she gives up, the more damage the shot will do. Patton yells that if she needs time, he'll buy it for her. He shouts a battle cry, taunting all the surrounding monsters. In his mind, the raid boss comes straight for him. And Kim thinks, this guy is nuts. He should be running for his life and not trying to tank this thing. The boss hits him head on. He takes 1,000 damage, but he actually tanked it. Kim wants to cheer, but the old guy warns him not to let his guard down. If they want this plan to work, they can't afford a single mistake. Turns out Patton had used a damage-sharing skill, and the old guy took a small hit too. Still, Kim looks at this ragtag group and thinks, these guys are actually putting in work. He realizes they're all low-level and don't have any secret classes, and yet they're holding their own like pros. Yumiak's laser-focused, shouting that while the two warriors keep the boss distracted, he and the assassin squad will use defense reduction to weaken it. Kim starts wondering how a bunch of so-called average players can be this strong. Maybe this is what guild power really looks like. At this pace, they're actually going to kill the boss. And meanwhile, he's lying there dead, not earning a single reward. Luckily, he's still holding that healing crystal in his hand. Patton's standing his ground when suddenly the boss hesitates for a second. Patton asks what's going on. The monsters switched targets, and look who just stood up. Kim mutters that he can't take watching this group of losers flail around anymore. He's gonna step in, since he's the highest level player here. Took him long enough, but the protagonist has officially entered the fight. But right as he says that, the boss unleashes a massive area of effect attack, wiping out 4 party members instantly. Everyone immediately starts asking the same thing. Why the hell did this guy take so long to wake up? The assassin squad that was helping got launched clear across the battlefield. One of them lands right in front of Patton. Patton screams, demanding to know how that bastard could let his teammates get hurt like that. The bald guy tells him to stay calm and keep his focus on the monster. Now's not the time to lose it. But Patton was reckless. He went straight for his big ultimate slash. All he got in return was a massive hit from the boss that dealt 3,800 damage, knocked him straight into the ground, and still left 2,400 damage left over for the old guy. And with that, Patton was dead for real. The old guy shouts that our protagonist ruined the entire plan, but Skim yells back that he had nothing to do with it. Unique, however, explains Patton's war cry pulled the boss's attention. That skill forces the monster to stop targeting healers and support classes. But the moment Kim reappeared on the battlefield, it reset the boss's aggro, and now the monster started targeting everyone again. The assassins nearby didn't even have a chance to react. Meanwhile, Ji-Yeon's still mid-cast, trying to figure out what to do. She's been charging this skill this whole time, but she's already down to 46% HP. Unique tells her to stay calm. If she fires too early, they'll lose their only shot at victory. The problem is, they were trying to stack marks on the boss's weak point, but they needed 5 and only got 3. So Unique decides he'll handle it. He tells her not to cancel that skill, no matter what happens. She's standing there, barely holding on, pulling back the bow while her health drains away. Kim quietly steps up beside her, wondering how he could help his friend. But before he can do anything, she snaps. She tells her he's useless without that goblin, so he better not do anything or he'll just make things worse. And now he's just standing there, completely crushed, trying to figure out why he's being treated like garbage, just because he didn't bring the goblin. It's their fault he couldn't summon it. They're the ones who blocked him out of the portal. He stares at the ground, grating his teeth, thinking, how the hell is he the one being treated like this when he's their only real chance of winning? Fine, if that's how they want it, they can all go down in flames without him. And just as Yoonhee predicted, the boss switches targets and starts charging toward Ji-Yeon as she's still casting her ability. He knew it would go for the archer first, so he strikes, lands 1,920 damage using his twin blade skill. The boss keeps charging. He slams into a wall, pushes back off, and jumps in with another hit minus 1,912. He knows that if he becomes the one dealing the most damage, he'll draw the boss's full attention. And finally, the boss turns. Now Kim has officially become the target. Even though the boss only has 3 weak points, that should be enough to buy time for Ji-Yeon's skill to go off. He activates Rapid Evasion, which should make him immune to physical attacks for 3 seconds. Or at least, that's what should have happened. Turns out, he didn't have enough mana. And right then, he gets hit clean in the chest. Except, Yoonhee steps in the way and drops dead right in front of him. Kim stares, completely stunned, and then starts going off, yelling that the so-called genius who had everything under control just died like a moron with 0 mana. Ji-Yeon, though, blames him, saying the moment he got revived, he threw off the whole plan. Kim glares and asks, wait, are you saying you would have won if I'd stayed dead? And she says probably yeah, another 10 seconds might have been enough. He just stands there thinking, I was this close to helping, but forget it. Now I hope none of them get a single reward. The boss is still charging toward them, but Ji-Yeon's the one it's locked onto. She finally says enough. She's tired of everyone pointing fingers. Even if she's not completely ready, she's got one shot. But beside her, she hears something weird. Kim's chuckling to himself. She turns, asks what he's doing. He smiles and says, quick question, can you not move while you're casting? Now she's fully alarmed, asking what he's thinking. She tells him to stay away from her, but it's too late. He throws her legs over his shoulder and takes off running. The boss swings, slams the ground, but they dodge off to the side just in time. She's freaking out, asking how he's almost as fast as Yoonhee. Well, obviously, right? The guy dumped all the stat points he earned, 26 of them, into agility. Not even a brain-dead assassin would have done that. And the second part of his plan worked too, because he acted like a complete jerk, let everyone die and wreck the whole strategy. He earned a goblin point. That's how his talent works. He has to act like a total menace to earn those points. Now he's hauling her around on his shoulder like she weighs nothing. He tells her to fire the damn arrow already, but she says it's hard to aim while moving at that speed. He tells her he doesn't care, she better not miss, because they're gonna pay for everything you went through. That pain, that expensive healing crystal, someone's paying for that. The kid's spinning around the boss like a damn bee-blade. The boss is swinging wildly, attacking in all directions. But her skill seems to be fully charged now. She's down to 1% HP. He tells her this is it, end it. At the same time, the boss activates an area-wide skill, World Shatter, sending debris flying everywhere. Now they're both screwed. Kim's about to get crushed, and with her sitting at 1%, even the tiniest pebble means instant death. She tells him she can't get a clear shot. Too much debris in the way, her aim's off. He tells her not to worry. He's seeing visions. She asks if it's part of a plan. He says no. It's just his life flashing before his eyes because, yeah, they're definitely about to die. But just then, a rift opens. And guess who arrives, dealing 999 on impact. Kim's first instinct is to punch the little freak for showing up so late. But then he realizes something weird. He's the only one seeing this. Ji-yeon hasn't reacted at all. So he activates Goblin's shield, throwing the green menace straight into the chaos to tank everything. The boss roars, but from between his thighs, the goblin mutters, such potent words for someone about to die. Shame, really. But now the trio was complete. 22,524 damage. The arrow pierces the boss's chest. It falls to the ground. Secret dungeon, Steel Giant's chamber, cleared. Ji-yeon's in shock. They actually beat it. She jumps from level 27 to 31. Our boy, from 31 to 34. But being the greedy little goblin in human form that he is, he immediately runs forward, desperate to know what the reward is this time. Though according to a few side comments, the real reward was probably getting crushed by those thighs. Next scene, Yoon-hyuk appears, along with a system message saying all allies have been revived after clearing the dungeon. Hugh says he's alive, but there's blood in his mouth. If that boss had been even a bit stronger, things would have ended badly. But something's off. The old guy's completely frozen, not even breathing. Yoon-hyuk says that's not the biggest problem right now. He turns and immediately demands an explanation from Kim. The goblin, meanwhile, is standing guard over all the gear, shouting to everyone to stay back. It's all his. Someone asks why the goblin's acting like that. Ji-yeon says he's always been weird. The second the boss was defeated, the little green guy bolted for the loot pile like a maniac. But both she and Kim got a strange message. They hadn't met the conditions to unlock the secret class. Ji-yeon's confused. How's that possible? They literally killed everything. Kim starts thinking back. Maybe it's something weird again, like when he earned the Goblin Lord's favor. Sure, most of the time things follow a basic logic. Kill boss, unlock class. But clearly not this time. That's why he's wondering, what is the class tied to this room? Still, now's not the time to think about that. First things first, he wants to know what items dropped. Ji-yeon, however, tells him to wait. Everyone helped in the fight. They should split the loot evenly. He immediately tells her to back off. That pile is his treasure. She's now staring at him, asking what's wrong with him, and already thinking, is this guy turning into Gollum? Then Yoon-hyuk says himself, it's true. The kid already helped them twice. Their only goal was to get out of that place, and now that they did, they don't really care about anything else. But that shady old guy, yeah, he was already sneaking up, ready to smack our boy from behind. So Skim tells him to back off, already knowing they've been planning to betray him again from the start. Yoon-hyuk says taking him out isn't even the real problem. If that's what they wanted, they would have done it already. They don't care about him keeping most of the loot, but they did notice that the bow was a unique item. Skim shrugs. Yeah, so. They tell him he's not even an archer. What's he gonna do with that thing? And besides, unique items can't be sold. Obviously, he can't equip it either since it's not his class. But our favorite pointy-nosed goblin pipes up like, I still want it. It's super cool, super pretty, super rare. The others immediately tell him to just hand it over to Ji-yeon. Skim sighs and says fine, but he wants something in return. It's an item he can't sell, which means its value can't even be measured. If he were to bind it to himself, they'd lose out big time. So yeah, they better buy it from him. The old guy instantly realizes this sneaky bastard had planned this from the beginning. He's literally smiling in his own greed. And Yoon-hyuk's looking at him like, this damn guy reminds me of that goblin. And speaking of, there's the goblin peeking from behind a barrel staring at the massive bow. It really is huge, isn't it? That's the giant's bow, and it's massive. Looks like they made the trade. Skim thanks them. Yoon-hyuk just mutters that the guy clearly has a natural talent for being hated, then asks where he plans to go after they leave. Skim says that's obvious. Someplace far away from them. Yoon-hyuk calls him a bastard, but admits it's a solid plan. And with that, the group leaves. Too bad, really just look at that gorgeous blonde giving our boy a little goodbye wave. He doesn't waste any time. He's already summoned his goblin again, who's hopping around all excited. Dungeon cleared. Too bad he ended up with a bow he can't use, but he did get the thief's glove. It lets you steal anything, but only once. You can't use it on players higher level than you, and it doesn't work on other users either. How will he use that? No clue yet. But more importantly, he got some ultra-pure iron and a bunch of rare materials, all saved just for him. Scene cuts to the city of Florendal, a place packed with high-level players he's never even seen before. He can practically smell the money in the air. But before diving into some grand adventure, he needs to get some gear. That one hit to the face that one-shot him made it very clear. He's not well equipped. Not to mention he's still wearing the same stinky gear from level 3. The thing's probably draining his defense at this point. Suddenly, the goblin starts tugging at his pants. He asks what's up, already begging him not to cause trouble. But then he turns around and sees it. A giant tiger, Right behind them, our boy's brain goes into panic mode. There has to be a raid boss. What the hell is it doing in the middle of the city? And just as he's freaking out, a new arrival shows up. Forget Jian. Irene is in the building. Blue-haired summoner. She glances at the goblin and casually asks if that one belongs to him. And Skim instantly realizes she's the lunatic who summoned the oversized deaf cat staring them down. She tells him not to worry. Michelle, yes, the tiger, is super chill. But Skim can see it in her eyes. This psycho is drooling while staring at him like a snack. And he knows he absolutely does not have what it takes to fight her. If the Evilton Guild even tried going up against her, they'd be vaporized. Then Iron gives him a sweet little smile and says he's a cute kid. Asks for his name. He answers, Skim Chalsu. Then she says she's not interested in him. What she really wants to know about is the little one standing next to him. Apparently, the goblin still didn't even have a name. Kim asks, what for? It's just a summoned monster, who cares? Besides, that thing isn't even cute. But Iron mourns him. One-sided relationships like that are unstable. He should have realized by now that the creature shows aggression toward its master because it hasn't been named. She tells him she hopes that next time they meet, he won't be so stubborn. Then she calls for Michelle and walks off. Kim would love nothing more than to wipe the floor with that girl, but he can't, so all he does is thank her for the advice. The scene shifts. Someone calls out to him. Turns out the gear he's wearing is complete garbage. The guy says he might as well be wearing a trash can around his body. It'd be more useful. Kim fires back, hey you damn jerk, stop roasting me, you bastard. That's why I came to your shop in the first place, to buy something decent. The guy offers him a chest plate for 350 coins. That's around 40 bucks in real-world money, which, considering he's 20 million in debt, isn't all that much. And as a summoner, he does need top-tier defense. Doesn't matter if he can summon stuff if he dies before he gets the chance. He buys it. The vendor tells him he's got a good eye for quality, says he better make good use of it. He made that thing with premium-grade materials. The name of this foul-mouthed vendor is Humphrey the Dirty Mouth, and Kim can already tell the guy lives up to it. He puts on the armor and immediately complains. This is the biggest piece of crap I've ever worn. I can't even move. The guy shoots back. That's because trash like you should stay stiff and die early. But the real reason? The armor requires 24 strength, and our boy only has 4 at the moment. He used up all his points during that steel giant fight. There's no way he can equip anything serious right now, so he tries to sell it back. The vendor just scoffs. That junk is trash. I'll give you 30 coins, tops. Shoddy craftsmanship like this isn't worth a damn. Kim tells him to get lost. He literally bought it from him 2 seconds ago, and the guy was hyping it up like it was a masterpiece. Right in the middle of the argument, Kim notices an exclamation mark floating above the guy's head. Then Humphrey turns to him and says he lost his hammer. Without it, he can't forge a single thing. Kim tells him to take a look at the counter. He sees at least 4 hammers right there. But Humphrey insists. He needs one specific hammer, and it's probably down in a water dungeon near the entrance of the village. He says it'd be real helpful if Kim went to find it. Obviously, that triggers a quest. The reward, the ability to process materials and craft armor, which sounded very useful. Now it all made sense why those materials Kim sold earlier were worth so much. If he could take the rare stuff from that secret dungeon and turn it into gear, yeah, that'd be real profitable. He instantly says he's on it. Quest accepted. Kim's confident. He doesn't need any party or friends, it's just him and his goblin. This dungeon, piece of cake. Give it 30 minutes and he'd have it all wrapped up. But then Humphrey yells, what the hell do you think you're doing? You need to bring me with you. Apparently, for the quest to succeed, he had to take the old geezer with him and make sure he didn't die. Problem is, the guy's only level 13. So Kim comes up with a shitty idea. He's got a ton of agility points, so he sprints off ahead, yelling, I'll just clear the whole thing before Gramps even gets close to danger. But almost immediately, a system alert pops up. Humphrey is under attack. Kim turns around, and there's a swarm of rats and slimes all over the old guy, who's screaming for help. He calls for the goblin, and that little green menace drops in, one-shotting everything than 999. Humphrey straightens up and declares, no one can stand against me, Humphrey the Dirty Mouth. But then his face suddenly changes. He says he's sensing something strange. He starts running off in another direction, saying the hammer's over there. Kim's already thinking it might just be easier to kill this bastard or find some way to immobilize him. Obviously, that would fail the quest, so he tells the goblin there's been a change of plans. Stick to this guy like glue and kill anything that comes near him. Problem is, in 10 seconds flat, that damn old guy is already surrounded by a swarm of rats. Then again, not that big a problem. The goblin's already charging ahead, landing those 999s left and right. The old guy's feeling himself, shouting about some secret technique and saying this is what happens when he goes all in. Meanwhile, Kim just thinks this guy's a total weirdo, but hey, at least he's safe. So far, so good. Then Humphrey yells for him to stop underestimating him. He activates his battle cry, claiming he's about to show what he's really made of. The skill pulls in all nearby enemies, and next thing you know, some crowned skeleton wakes up in a tomb along the whole army. Right then, the damn thing standing in front of them, demanding to know who shouted and woke him from his eternal slumber. Humphrey just says, finally, this dungeon's starting to get interesting. Kim, on the other hand, is wondering why this guy is clearly trying to make the mission harder with every step. But there goes the goblin again, tosses a rock in the air, catches it, and hurls it straight at the skeletons. It bounces off the wall and lands a full 999 across the board, clears the whole path. 3 hours later, our boy's exhausted. And from the looks of it, that damn blacksmith is still trolling him nonstop. They killed so many mobs, Kim's leveled up 3 times. He's leaning on a wall, hears a strange noise, and Humphrey tells him to back off. It's a trap. At the end of the hall, 3 golden arrows are flying their way. Kim calls the goblin to tank the hits. He's wondering why this trap even activated. What did they step on? What triggered it? Of course, Humphrey had stepped right on a skull switch, got an arrow straight to the gut, and now he's down to half HP. He even yells at Kim, calling him a coward for using allies instead of taking the hit himself. Kim honestly wants to kill this bastard on the spot. To make things worse, the guy's now poisoned. He starts losing HP every second until, yep, Humphrey the dirty mouth dies. Cut to Kim sprinting through the city, shouting that he's gonna kill that bastard next time he sees him. But while he's blazing through the streets, a man in a suit calls out to him, saying he finally found Mr. Skim. Our boy arrives at Humphrey's shop, and the blacksmith just asks what gear he wants. Kim, fuming, points at the goblin and asks, any last words? The blacksmith just thanks him for retrieving the hammer. Kim's confused, he has no idea what the guy's talking about. But the quest was complete. He already had the material. He wants to know when the hell that happened, and Humphrey explains. It dropped when they killed the very first slime. It was one of the first items to fall. Skim asks why he didn't say anything sooner, and Humphrey replies, because you're trash. Anyway, here we are. He's now at the forge using top-tier metal. He tells the kid to brace himself. When high-quality material meets a true master, you get a miracle. He says he's gonna sweat over this forge and make something legendary. And just like that, he says it's done. Kim looks at him. You're not even sweating, man. That took 10 seconds. Still, once he inspects the gloves, they were made using the drop from an extremely rare boss. And now the kid's fully geared up. He may look thinner and a bit weaker, sure, but it's fine. It's a light armor set, level 36, requires 34 agility to equip, and has a 1% chance to trigger the Heaven and Earth Destruction skill. Humphrey says he's not charging anything this time. No need to thank him. It'd just be gross anyway. Kim just shrugs and says, good. I wasn't planning to thank a bastard like you either. But right then, someone activates PK mode and points his sword straight at him. And not just points, it nearly lands a hit. Kim jumps back, shocked, and wants to know why this guy just attacked him out of nowhere. The dude with glasses says it's impressive that he was fast enough to dodge that. Clearly, he must be the person who left his lady on the brink of death. Kim gets ready to defend himself, saying he only dodged because of his agility stat, but decides to switch the subject. What do you mean your lady? What's this about? The butler cuts him off, telling him to stop pretending. He checked. Her last party member was someone named Kim Chalsu. He charges again, saying Kim must know the name Catherine very well. And that's when it clicks. Kim starts to remember. That was his first real buddy from the very beginning. The chubby one. The one who was with the little dwarf guy. He quickly tells the man to hold up. He has no idea what she told him, but he was the one who got dragged into all that. He was the victim. The butler scoffs at that. Funny how you're calling yourself the victim when you're out here living just fine, while she's been in a coma, in a vegetative state, ever since that day. That one actually stuns Kim for real. He knew the level 80 Geiger's attack would have done serious damage, but he didn't think she would literally die from it. He yells that it was the Geiger's fault, not his. He didn't do anything wrong. But the butler says Kim doesn't get to decide whether he's guilty or not. What matters is that because of that incident, the entire Semyon group's succession line is now in total chaos. And yet, when the guy landed that last strike, it did 0 damage. Kim's confused. He looks at him and says, okay, maybe we can talk this out from the top, because clearly that girl was the daughter of some big-time CEO or something, huh? That girl's family? That Semyon group? Just from how it sounds, you can already guess, right? It's basically Samsung. In Korea, Samsung owns everything: phones, electronics, semiconductors, cars, motorcycles, planes, you name it. They're all over the world. And now he realizes he's standing right in front of the daughter of the person who owns all of that. The butler wants to know, did she really get attacked by a level 80 creature in the dungeon? Kim says he thinks that's what happened. Probably one of those shock incidents or something like that. Then the butler asks, then how the hell did you make it out alive, huh? Weren't you just level 3? She was almost level 40 and that happened to her. So how are you still in one piece? Our boy comes clean and explains the whole thing. Says he got a secret class out of nowhere and managed to escape. Said it was pure luck. But deep down he knows that kind of thing no doctor can fix it. You can bring in as many people as you want and nothing's gonna change. If she's in that state, then someone like him, who was level 3 at the time, would have been dead on the spot. The guy with the glasses says it's unbelievable that a level 3 walked away unharmed just because of a class change. He knows even secret classes aren't that powerful. Kim doesn't really have a good explanation. All he knows is the chances of her ever coming back are really slim. Then the guy tells him to just keep quiet. He better understand. They already brought in the best doctors around, and they all said the same thing. Nobody knows when she's gonna wake up, and from the looks of it, there's nothing anyone can do. Wait, what? I thought he was gonna argue or push back or something, but no, that's all we got. Just that miserable answer. Kim said he knows the only thing they can do now is wait until she wakes up. But like, she got hurt in game, so why aren't they trying to heal her in the game too? The guy glances over, adjusts his glasses, and tells him to go on. Kim starts talking about a case in the US, something similar, where everyone thought a person would have to retire. The family had already given up, but then right when it seemed like the person was knocking on heaven's door, they suddenly woke up. What the hell? Kim totally made that story up. But why is he doing that? Oh right, because he's the damn goblin. He's after these people's money. He says the chances of something like that happening are 1 in 9.9 million. Where is he even getting these numbers from? Then he grabs the butler's hand and says that even if the odds are that low, trying something is still better than just sitting around waiting for a miracle. Yeah, he's lying through his teeth just to cash in, because that girl straight up lied to him too. The guy stares him down, but Kim holds his ground. Another glare. Now he's sweating bullets, staring off into the distance. And here we are. Look who just showed up, our tough little coma girl. Kim's in shock. Can't believe they actually let an unconscious girl log into the game. These lunatics are clearly desperate. The problem now is, if they find out he made all this up, he's definitely getting killed. What the hell can he even do in the game to help this crazy girl regain consciousness? Clearly impossible. He's never heard of anything like that. But at the very least, he'll be the one who tried to save her. He just has to give it everything he's got. That massive corporation's gonna owe him big time. If she wakes up, great. If she doesn't, he really couldn't care less. He strokes his chin and says he'll do his best to save the little princess. He's gotta let some time pass, then walk up to them and say, "Y'all might want to sit down for this news." There it is. He'll break the news, get a bunch of praise, score some serious cash, flawless plan. But there's just one problem. What's he supposed to do with this girl's avatar if she can't even walk? Then he remembers. Human avatars, right? If you pull them forward, it'll fall down. That's when he gets an idea. Ties a leash around her neck. And now look at this goblin boy driving her around like a slave. He didn't expect it would get this much attention though. People are already whispering about it, talking about how this guy's using a goblin to carry a girl around, calling him the worst player ever, saying he deserves to die. He tries to calm everyone down, saying he'd never do something like that he's close to the girl. But then the mustache guy chimes in, says now he's the one who feels close to our boy and really feels like beating the crap out of him. Kim instantly realizes, yep, once again, his reputation in the city is going straight down the drain. Then someone calls out to him. Oh no, not again. Here comes that damn old con artist. In the alley, our boy mutters that he never thought he'd run into Sungreal again, the persuasive. But the old man snaps, says his name is the cunning, damn it. And now he's figured it out. It was Kim who summoned the goblin. Kim just shrugs and says he did what he had to do to get out of a jam. Then he wants to know, what's the Averton Guild doing in the area? What are they planning? Sungreal tells him to relax. The guild doesn't always move together. Players are usually scattered, and that time, everyone just happened to be gathered to finish a raid. Our boy remembers this bastard's got a lot of info, so he demands he spill something about the guild. But Sungreal tells him to keep it down. There's a better place for him to get information about Florendal. If he really wants it, just head over that way. But it's obvious there's a catch. He's clearly got 2 C4s and a laser trap set right on the path. And sure enough, someone already got the crap beaten out of them there, saying they didn't even learn much about Florendal anyway. All they really know is that this raid only shows up when players meet certain conditions. The old guy, though, wants to know why the kid's already so interested in the raid. He literally just got to this city. He's noticed it. Every single time, the boy's always in a rush, running back and forth like he's got somewhere to be. Kim says it's obvious. He wants money. And the money? That's with the stronger monsters, in the more dangerous places. Of course he's got to take advantage while his bug's still active, right? Once they take away his goblin, he's screwed. The old man explains that, look, he just got here. Even if he wants to charge ahead, there are steps that need to be followed. And the next step, speaking of which, is in the city of Phoenix, Elbasar. That's where you pick up the main quest to keep progressing, and there's a ton of high-level players there too. Weirdly enough, Kim immediately lights up, yelling that that's exactly what he's after. The main quest, high-level stuff, the whole deal. So he better speak up and say where it is. The guy gives him the location, and Kim just slams him to the ground and tells the goblin they're heading out. But that's when he notices, wait a sec, where's the girl the goblin was supposed to be driving along? The look on his face, man, total panic. In some alley, 2 creeps are hanging around talking about how the gear, and what's under the gear, looks pretty nice. Stick bastards trying to sound poetic about it. They think she just went off to the bathroom or something and clearly believe she won't be able to resist anything they're about to do. While they're getting closer, practically drooling, Kim runs over yelling that she's unconscious. Even the smallest hit could kill her. In his head, he remembers getting a call from Glasses Guy asking if she's okay. He says, yeah, she's safe. The guy wants to see her. He says not right now, he's in the middle of a super important mission. The guy insists. Kim snaps, tells him to shut it already. Bye, done. Some guy standing next to the man in the suit asks what's wrong, and the dude apologizes. Wait, hold up. That guy? He's the president of Samsung. Big boss of everything. Novice Kamoon Knight 76. And he says don't worry about it. The kid's probably just nervous, scared out of his mind about putting her in danger. His assistant, though, wants to know why he let someone like that take control of her body in the first place. If it were actually possible to heal her in the game, then fine, but he better be doing that. Kamoon answers that the kid's clearly just pulling that idea out of thin air. There's no way something like that could work. He's just counting on something happening with Catherine. And that's because, back when she was a kid, her fate was already locked in. She was going to inherit the company. This game was the only thing she ever chose for herself, the only decision she ever truly made. That's why he believes this world is like paradise for her, or at the very least, somewhere she felt free. And he knows it's better for her to be resting there than stuck in a hospital bed. What a soft dad. Meanwhile, our boy is out here running around, trying to bring this girl back to life. Well, trying is a strong word. He's mostly faking it. He's exhausted and wondering why they even programmed this trash lung system into the game. On top of that, finding her is gonna be a nightmare. Then he remembers, when he gave up his head and took shelter with that elf, he got Goblin Point. He decides to take a look at his skills, and one of them is life sharing. He could use his own health to restore a bit of the goblins. Useless at the moment. But then he notices another skill, Goblin Throw. Yeah, the name's pretty self-explanatory. So he uses Goblin Summon, grabs the goblin in his hand, and launches him. The little guy soars over the entire city and instantly points in one direction. Bingo! The rascal knows where Catherine is, and now Kim is sprinting over, foaming at the mouth, yelling that he's here to save the day. But he runs straight into the two creeps in the alley who want to know what he's doing there. Right away, one of them comments that he's even uglier up close. And besides, they're the ones who are gonna take care of her and make her feel good. Kim tells them to screw off. He's not here to make her feel good in any way. So who the hell are these two losers? The one with the mustache smirks and says they're two very handsome guys whose favorite hobby is rescuing women in danger. Kim tells the creeps to quit acting like heroes when they're the ones putting her in danger. But before he can even finish, the guys lunge at him. Kim instantly loses it, and just like that, it's over. The two of them are lying dead on the ground, taken out by the goblin. Now he's mocking them, asking how it feels for two so-called handsome dudes to get their asses kicked by an ugly guy. He's laughing like a maniac when a soldier shows up nearby, wondering what all the ruckus is about. And there's Kim, tongue sticking out, dragging Catherine along with him. The guard shows up right away, demanding to know why they killed two people and were in the middle of kidnapping a woman. No way they were walking away from a crime like that in this city without consequences. Kim tries to calm him down, says he was the one who got attacked first and this whole thing isn't fair. But deep down he knows there's no way this guard is gonna believe a word he says. And if he gets caught now, he'll be tossed into jail, and he doesn't have time for that. Luckily, there's only one guard around, so maybe now's the perfect time to take him out and bolt. But suddenly, Sunreal grabs him by the shoulder and says he'd been looking for the kid. Kim snaps at the lying bastard to get lost and demands to know what he's doing there. The old man warns him that if he kills a guard like this, he'll be hunted down by NPCs for the rest of his life, so he better think twice. Then Sunreal walks over to the guard and starts sweet-talking him, thanking him for all this hard work protecting the people. The guard, of course, immediately gets suspicious, wants to know who he is, what he's plotting, and tells him to keep his hands where he can see them. But the old guy uses a charm ability, kind of a bribe for NPCs, and slips him some coins to boost the relationship meter. The guard's hesitant, asking if he's seriously offering that much money. The old man says yep, and the guy grabs him, demanding to know why he's trying to buy off an honest man. His relationship level takes a nosedive right away, since bribery is still a crime. Kim, however, realizes that somehow the old man basically got himself arrested in his place, and the path is now clear. Turns out that lying bastard actually did something decent for once, but now standing in front of this massive building, Kim wants to know why the hell he can't go in. He heard that the main quest was inside. While he's complaining, this blonde guy outside the place tells him not to bother. That door hasn't budged in a while. Kim asks who he is, and the guy introduces himself as Shin. He says that just watching Kim casually knocking on that door makes it obvious. He's new in town. He says he likes the kid's eyes, though. They've got that real adventurer's intensity. And since that's the case, why not help out in some lost ruins? Kim's already furiously mashing the skip button, hoping to shut this guy up. That's when he receives the main quest. Show me your skills. He has to bring back the core of a golem from these ruins to prove what he can do. Now, arms crossed, Kim mutters that this NPC's hilarious. Could have at least mentioned what kind of dungeon it is. Turns out it's a dodging type dungeon, not the kind where you just go in and kill everything. Still, with his max agility, it shouldn't be too hard. The real problem is that he's dragging this girl with him. He's got to make it through without ever taking even a scratch of damage. So he tells the goblin to stay behind with her while he dashes ahead and uses rally. He gets ready, kicks off running, and before you know it, bam, he's already on the other side. Super fast. He activates the rally memory and the goblin comes flying over. That little dude lands all smiles, tongue flapping out. But just like I figure, right? The rope goes taut, she's still tied to it. And poor Catherine, man, I'm already feeling sorry for her, is starting to get yanked along. Kim shouts for the goblin to do something, anything, before she falls into the lava. She's inches away from slamming into one of the ceiling blades and our boy's practically panicking. She ends up flat on her back on the ground, completely wrecked. Right away, he runs to her, calling out her name, telling her to get up. She cannot die here, not in a place like this. If she does, he's totally screwed. And from the looks of it, we're about to take a deep dive into her memories. Back in her memory, her father, Kimun, is demanding to know why she came home late again and whether she was out with that group of so-called friends. He tells her that, at her age, friends don't mean a damn thing. They're worthless people she'll forget about one day. And on top of that, he saw her leave wearing a short skirt and makeup that made her look like some kind of night worker. So apparently she's decided she wants to live like human trash. Jeez, that was brutal. She's crying, apologizing, but her father just says that today she's going to learn a lesson. She looks to her mom for help, but all she gets is a cold stare and silence. Then her dad tells her she's the only failure in his entire life. God damn, that hit hard. I actually felt bad for the girl. She's just stuck there, frozen. Our boy turns to the goblin and asks, what the hell do we do now? Weirdly enough, the goblin suggests that he's never gonna find another chick as hot as this one, so maybe he should try waking her up with a little mouth-to-mouth. What the hell? But Kid knows this is just a game. There's no real air or physics. There's no way that would actually work. It was impossible from the start. Still, I mean, she's kind of already deadish, so might as well try, right? At best, it might just jolt her mentally and force her to snap back. But of course, that's exactly when the butler shows up, right as Kim's making that stupid kissy face. And immediately, he's like, now I see what you were really after. You little creep. I'm gonna kill you. Kim panics and tells him to calm down. She's fine. There's nothing to worry about. She's not gonna die. The butler replies, obviously. He's logged into the game 24/7, keeping an eye on her. Not to mention, there's a whole team of doctors surrounding her body IRL. And on top of all that, her equipment is the best available at her level. That white spider magic dress may look soft, but its defense is comparable to steel. The whole reason he logged in was just to make sure this disgusting goblin kid wouldn't lay a finger on her while she was unconscious. He's about to say something else, but Kim just cuts him off with a screw you and hangs up. Then he turns to the goblin like, you heard that right? Her armor cancels out 90% of incoming damage. So the two of them take off running, being chased by a giant boulder, while they're using the girl like a skateboard. They're throwing her across gaps on a rope, making her tank hits from golems, swinging her like a whip. At one point, Kim realizes he got way too excited and literally used her as a projectile. On the bright side, he treated her like garbage and earned a goblin point for it. While he's standing there amazed by how multifunctional she is, her finger twitches, just a tiny bit. But of course, right then the goblin launches an attack, the room explodes, and the little guy goes flying right through, smacks the golem with a huge 999 hit. Kim doesn't even look surprised anymore. He just mutters that all he has to do now is grab the core and be done with it. But no, the golem rebuilds itself and enters phase 2. Kim shrugs it off like, whatever, and tells Gobletato to hit it again. Another 999. He goes, finally, that's gotta be it. Nope, the damn thing pulls itself together again and goes into phase 3. Kim's like, please, I'm begging you. Could you cheat just a little less? He uses the goblin's rally ability and calls him again. But weirdly, his time, the goblin takes the hit before landing his attack. Everything explodes behind Kim, and now he's sprinting full speed, while the golem slams the ground, lighting everything on fire. He already knows unless he destroys that core, the thing's just gonna keep shifting into new phases. That's when he remembers that bastard Sunreal explaining monster weaknesses the other day. The problem? He doesn't have any way to target specific weak points like the Vilton Guild guys do. Maybe his best bet is just to beat the absolute hell out of everything until it eventually dies. While he's zigzagging through the dungeon trying to dodge attacks, he ends up running right past Catherine. Poor thing's just standing there, totally out of it, and unfortunately, he dodges, but the golem's punch is heading straight for her face. The moment it hit her, she felt the exact same sensation as when she got crushed by that boss, and just like that, she woke up screaming. The room exploded and Kim bit his fingers in panic, trying to figure out what the hell just happened. He was pretty sure it was fine. It wasn't a super high damage hit or anything. Shouldn't have been fatal. But the boss kept slamming the ground and was now straight up devouring its own arm, as if it didn't know what was going on either. And then, she stood up. And not just stood up, towering, enormous presence. Immediately, she starts shouting, demanding to know what the hell is going on, what this place is, who he is, and why the hell she's there. Turns out she triggered her mage skill, escape. And now she wants answers fast. Kim's frozen. She really woke up. Only issue now is what happens when she remembers she was used as a skateboard. But hey, who cares? She's alive, she's standing. That's what matters most. He just saved the hair to this Samsung group. He's about to get a reward the size of a small country. So he walks over all bent up, trying to explain the situation. tells her she lost consciousness after being attacked by a monster in a hidden dungeon, and that he got permission from the president himself to help wake her up. He worked his butt off and he pulled it off. Then she socks him mid-sentence and he crashes through a wall. Still groaning on the ground, he's like, "Really? You couldn't give me a heads up before punching me like that." But then he sees her, already far away, running off, leaving him behind. She's in full-on panic mode, crying and shouting that she's scared. If her dad finds out she went back into Heaven's Gate and kept playing, she's going to be literally killed for real. As she's yelling in sheer panic, suddenly, she wakes up in the hospital. The butler rushes in, asking what's going on, and the doctors explain that she seems to be regaining consciousness, but she's extremely agitated. The butler instantly thinks of our boy and is certain he did something awful. The medical team considers cutting the power to the pod to snap her out of it, but another doctor says no way, that could make her black out again. The butler shuts that down completely, saying not to even think about it. Since pain and sensations are tied to reality, it's way too dangerous, especially if she's in the middle of a dungeon. So he decides to log in and find out exactly where Kim is. Back inside the ruin, the golem is firing stone missiles right at her. She turns, panicking, thinking this is it, she's dead. But right on time, the goblin jumps in and shields her. Kim shouts at her to stop trying to run. There's no way she can outrun a golem. But she's collapsed on the ground, shaking, crying, repeating, "I'm scared, I'm scared." Kim's completely confused. What the hell is going on with this girl? Before things spiral even more, he knows he needs to deal with it. You'd think he'd go finish off the boss, but no. He actually tells the goblin to knock her out. But then his expression changes. She looks up at him and begs for help. She says she doesn't know what kind of connection he has with her father or the company, but she swears she'll pay him way more than whatever her dad promised if he helps her. He answers instantly, of course he'll help. They're going to get out of there safe and sound. Just tell him what she wants. But while he might be having fun, she definitely isn't. She says this isn't a joke. She doesn't care how. She just wants to be out of this place. She begs him to kill everyone around her. She wants to get far away from that group, all of them. The awful people, the employees, all of it. Kim's just standing there, a bit shaken. She's crying, saying she's tired of being hit. And just as the goblin's about to knock her out with a blow to the back of the neck, a call comes in from the butler. He's yelling through the comms, telling the bastard to show her right now. He's coming in to get that girl out of there. Kim immediately tells the goblin to stop what he's doing and hold off the golem instead. Then he turns to the butler and asks how the hell he still doubts him this much. He was hired fair and square. He throws a cocky little smile at the girl and says, "Whatever I'm doing, she looks like she's enjoying it." Kim insists he's not kidnapping her. This was just part of helping her recover. She was doing fine, so there's no need to panic. The butler, confused, doesn't understand what's going on. She didn't seem even remotely conscious, so maybe that earlier reaction was just a seizure or something. He tells Kim that she doesn't seem stable, and if he's in a dungeon, he better get out now. Plus, it's time to end the agreement. They want the girl back. Kim immediately pushes back like, no way, not happening. He says he's in a critical moment right now, but the call cuts off. He mutters that she better be honest about that money she promised, but she admits it was a lie. She doesn't have that kind of cash. Meanwhile, the goblin's still in the thick of it. Kim says she better hand over every coin she's got or he'll sell her back to her group for the reward. Crying, she begs him to calm down. She'll sell everything, even her gear, just please don't tell anyone. He snaps that her gear isn't worth even 6,000, but then she says it's worth 100 million. That's when they both turn and tell the goblin, all right, time to go legit. But for some reason, the goblin is already in stage 5, level 170. Kim is freaking out. Why the hell did this thing grow 4 arms? It was supposed to kill, not level up. He's now running for his life because he knows if that monster even lands one hit, they're all dead. Suddenly, a frost attack hits him and locks up his whole body. He's frozen in place, confused, trying to figure out what the hell just happened. Of course, it was Catherine. She tells him she can't hold on for long, but that spell should be enough for them to escape. And just like that, she takes off running too. Now all 3 of them are making a break for the exit, but there's a rope in the way. Catherine gets snagged by the neck, hits the ground, and the goblin closes in. She cries out for help. That thing's level 170. There's no way she'll survive if it hits her. Right then, Kim sees something different. Back when he left her to die to that monster, it was because he was weak. But now he doesn't have a choice. He has to save her. But he's not a hero. If he takes a hit from one of these things, there's no doctor, no money waiting to patch him up. He'll just die in a hospital bed, and no one will ever know what happened. So he says goodbye. Catherine watches him turn his back and sees it. He's acting just like her mother did, abandoning her. In that moment, it's clear. No one in this world has ever truly seen her. Explosion. Her body lights up with an impact. Oh, hell no. Her arms all torn up, shredded. Damn it. I thought it was our boy who saved her. But no, it was that NPC Shin. And he congratulates Kim, saying he did an incredible job holding out this long. Also, turns out the guy holds the title of God. Now Kim finally understands how this dungeon works. Basically, the moment someone's about to be defeated, this NPC shows up to save them. That's how the whole system functions. The point was, this mission was impossible from the very start. That's why the boss was level 170. The golem core probably doesn't even exist. You just keep fighting endlessly, and the boss would keep evolving stage after stage. Back when he took that huge punch and got flung across the room, he should have realized he didn't feel any real pain. It was all part of the scripted setup. Shin turns to the golem and scolds it for harming his subordinate. Kim's just happy the damn guy showed up at all. He rushes forward, ready for round 2, telling Shin to brace himself for what's about to happen. But suddenly, something explodes right next to him. He looks over, and Shin's standing there, dusting himself off like it was nothing. Says it wasn't even enough to warm him up. Kim's stunned. He has no idea how this bastard is staying so calm. He lunges again, only to take another slap to the head and crash to the ground. And that's when he finally notices this so-called god NPC. He's only level 70. It all makes sense now. This place was designed for players between level 30 and 40. So yeah, when a level 70 guy shows up, he basically is a god. The golem was never supposed to go beyond level 45, but our boy went and used his goblin, and now he's turned the thing into an unstoppable monster. Shin stands back up again, repeating that this creature isn't even good enough for a warm-up. That's when Kim realizes the NPC's stuck on a dialogue loop. He's immortal, so he can't die, but he also can't kill the golem. They're locked in a loop. But maybe when Shin materialized, he also triggered the goblin's core. And now, for the first time, this thing might actually be killable. All Kim has to do is figure out exactly where Shin's aiming his attacks. Shin lunges again, striking at the golem's core. Kim jumps in too, trying to go for it, takes another hit. But no, the goblin tosses a boulder from across the room, finishes it off. Shin still throws out one last line, saying that monster really wasn't even a warm-up. If he hadn't been there, everyone would be dead. Good thing he arrived in time to save everyone. Kim, though, he's not celebrating. He's still thinking about whether Catherine was actually saved. But then he spots her, standing quietly off to the side. She's alive. The two of them are now outside the dungeon, and the NPC turns to him, saying he's noticed some talent in the kid. Sure, he had to save him, but the potential's definitely there. Kim, though, just wants to crawl into a hole. Leaving Catherine back there like that, it was way worse than what she did to him, tricking him at the start to get him killed. The NPC keeps talking, filling the silence, and Kim's grateful for that, at least. Then Shin turns to go, telling them not to think about him too much. He exists on a higher plane. He walks away and stops at a certain spot, waiting to accept the next mission. And now silence. Kim stands there, awkwardly glancing over at Catherine. He finally musters the courage and says, "Okay, what happened back there was my fault." But just then, her father shows up. He says, "Looks like she's finally awake." Kim has no idea who this guy is, but his aura is on a whole other level. Either he's filthy rich or insanely powerful. Catherine immediately reacts, asking why her father is even here. Kamoon tells her he knew she was conscious the moment she had that convulsion. She's had him worried sick day and night, and yet here she is, pretending to be an adult, wasting time playing this stupid game, dragging everyone down. He turns to Kim and thanks him for taking such good care of her. Says it looks like his promise to wake her up really came true. He'll receive a generous reward, and they'll be in touch soon. Then Kamoon reaches out his hand and tells Catherine to come with him. The whole mood turns heavy. Kim's angry at her for being such a mess. But she isn't even mad at him. She's not yelling, not blaming him for abandoning her. She's just walking away. With this look like she's heading straight into hell. Why isn't she asking for help again? Why isn't she begging to be saved? Kim knows the answer. Because you prove he's not someone worth relying on. Not someone you trust. But maybe, just maybe, this time he can save her. And so he shouts, "Wait, both of you stop." Even someone like him knows exactly who that man is. President Han Kamoon, head of the Samsung Group. Famous for being kind, compassionate, a role model. He turns to Catherine and asks, right? Isn't that true? But if that's the case, then why does she look like she's about to die? Why is it that when someone so admired is taking her away, she looks more broken than ever? He grabs her by the arm and says she's coming with him, and demands to know what Kamoon's going to do about it. But all of that, it's just a dream, a fantasy. He's not actually doing any of it. He just stands there, watching her leave, and deep down he knows there's no saving her. Not by someone like him. He's always been the guy who breaks promises, a coward like no other. He doesn't even expect to save himself. So what the hell is he doing dreaming about being a hero? Kim Chulsu. He's just going to be a goblin for the rest of his life. The knights nearby are whispering among themselves. Is that really the Great Knight King? The one who was part of the trio that took down the Duke? Everyone starts shouting and cheering for Knight Kamoon. Then someone asks, out loud, "Hey, who's that hot babe next to him?" Like they literally said that, out loud. And Kamoon just replies coolly, "She's just someone I'm grouped with for now." Then he turns to Catherine and tells her to really think about how people see him and how they see her. She needed to understand the shame it would bring if anyone ever found out she was his daughter. People pass by, shouting his name like he's royalty, while Kim just stands there frozen. Someone shoves past him like, "Hey, why are you blocking the road?" And he just stands there thinking. So it's true. She really was the precious daughter of that guy. But even with all the crap she's gone through, it couldn't possibly be worse than his own life. So why does he feel guilty? He should forget about all of this. He hasn't even paid rent this month, for crying out loud. Suddenly, a voice comes up from the sewer. It's Sungreal, calling out that something big just happened in town. Our boy's spooked, like, what the hell is that scumbag doing here? The old man explains that when he got arrested by the guards, he managed to escape. But now he's being hunted, so he's living underground. Literally. Still, it's not that bad, he says. When women walk by, he sees things that you just can't see from above ground. Kim immediately realizes this guy's a criminal, a full-on creep. But the old man keeps going. That girl standing next to the president, she didn't look like a teammate. She looked hurt. Kim's still off balance, asking who he's talking about. Whoever it was, maybe she just got injured fighting. Who knows? But the old man says, no, you're not getting it. In the game, all the pain signals are sent to the brain. Your real body doesn't get touched. He explains that from where he was watching, he could see things from a different angle. That girl had signs of physical abuse, real-world injuries. Kim stops. He goes silent for a second, then yells out toward Kimoon. Tells that bastard to stop right there. Says it's pathetic watching someone like him kidnap someone in broad daylight, right in front of everybody. He's a disgrace. Kimoon calmly turns and says he has no idea what the boy's talking about, but he should be careful throwing accusations like that. It could cause misunderstandings. Kim mocks him, repeats his words in a fake polite tone, then straight up calls him out. Stop pretending to be a good guy just because you're the president of some massive company. It's obvious. He's not the kind of man who follows the law. And then, oh boy, Kim says it. He claims that the girl beside him is his girlfriend. Even Catherine is stunned, and Kim just keeps going, saying they already did this and that other thing too. Everyone nearby starts murmuring. If that were true, it would be a full-on scandal. Some are skeptical though, no proof, so it must be fake news, right? And besides, Kimoon doesn't even flinch. Not a single emotion on his face. He calmly replies that the boy must be confusing him with someone else, and that he's in a hurry, so he'll be leaving now. But Kim steps forward again, telling him not to move. If she's not your girlfriend, then what is she to you? What kind of guy goes around teaming up with a girl wearing revealing clothes like that? A dirty old man, that's who. It's weird, right? An older guy hanging around a young girl like that. People around them start whispering, saying, yeah, it is kind of peculiar. At the very least, it's not normal. Kimoon just sighs and says it's not even worth responding to. He turns to leave again. But then, someone steps in. Oh no, of course. It's that sly bastard Sungreal again. He steps forward and announces himself as Patrick Sungreal, a loyal employee of the Samsung Group. And when he heard that Catherine, the legitimate heir to the company, was here, he rushed over immediately. He kneels down, takes her hands gently, and says she truly is the future of the corporation. He's deeply relieved to know that she's safe. Catherine has no idea what's going on. She's just standing there, totally confused, and everyone around is murmuring, trying to make sense of it too. Was that girl really the president's daughter? But if that's true, how the hell are they supposed to trust the entire company to someone like her? And what's the logic here anyway? The guy just said she was just someone he teamed up with. None of it adds up. But one thing's clear. Things are looking bad for Kimoon. Kim walks up beside him and casually says, you might as well admit it, idiot. She's your daughter. The only way out now is to own up. Say he made some mistakes raising her. At least that could be spun into a scandal with a recovery arc. And if he does that, Kim promises, he'll act like he's insane and doesn't even know who she is. But if he doesn't cooperate, then Kim's gonna expose exactly what's really going on between them. Kimoon glares at him, then coldly asks, and what do you think your words are worth? He stomps his foot, and his voice booms across the plaza. Don't let yourselves be deceived by a liar like this one. Kim's stunned. What the hell kind of ability was that? His voice echoed through the whole damn city. Kimoon then announces that the man dressed as a butler has no affiliation with his company, and that the girl on the ground is just someone he met today. He says the two of them are conspiring to ruin his reputation. But he is Han Kimoon, the true head of the Sunyan Group. And right here, right now, he's going to execute all three of them for what they've done. Bro, he activates PK mode and says he's gonna show everyone exactly what happens to someone who pretends to have a connection with him. That's what happens. He's going to get a like on. And remember how last chapter ended, when Catherine Lee's father went full PK mode, yelling that he was gonna kill everyone? Well, obviously the dude got smacked straight in the face by Goblito. The idiot was sent flying into the wall and exploded like a bomb, while our main guy celebrated that he'd shown up just in time. But then Goblito started walking toward him, and he's like, oh crap, Goblito, chill out, man, they'll realize we're on the same side. The moment the creature got close, he immediately used Goblin Throw and sent him flying like Team Rocket, blasting off again. Then he yelled to everyone, damn, what a crazy goblin. Dangerous thing. Good thing I threw him far away. I've got no idea who that is. The crowd's confused, like, wait, that goblin killed a knight with one hit. So how did that kid throw him that far? Anyway, our guy walks up to Catherine and says, get up, woman. But she's panicking, telling him to let her go, and that she knows he doesn't actually want to save her. The protagonist grabs her by the chin and tells her she doesn't get to decide anything. Whether he leaves her or not, it's his choice because he's not some knight in shining armor. she better wake up because this place is full of trash just like him. He doesn't care that her father got punished or that everything happened by coincidence. He figures the old man's just paying for his sins. And now with everyone watching, Catherine finally has a chance to get her revenge just like Goblito. But suddenly, his expression changes. He looks at her and says that now that he's seen her up close, she really isn't his girlfriend. Then he laughs awkwardly, haha, embarrassing, and walks away. The guy's actually a gentleman, saved her from her father while making sure no one would think they were connected. Then Sunryu tells her to get up and say what's on her mind. She slowly rises, closes her eyes, and when she opens them again, she starts introducing herself. Next scene, on the news, there's a report about an abusive father from the famous group. His daughter, Catherine Ellis, said she wanted to die. The protagonist, watching everything on TV and social media, seeing the pictures Catherine posted showing her beaten body. As a result, the company's stock price tanked. And suddenly, the father claims he's too sick to give interviews. For Zekin, it looked like a happy ending, but when he tells Sunryu that this damn rich guy is going to hire someone to kill him in his sleep, Sunryu just says, "Sir, please keep your voice down in my refined restaurant. The photos of you fighting that guy are already spreading, so if you disappear for any reason, he'll be the prime suspect." The protagonist glares at him, then starts crying, saying he messed up. He shouldn't have gone against the dude, now he's the main target. Sunryu tells him to calm down, saying what he did is worth more than any amount of money in this world. But our guy doesn't buy it. He doesn't trust a word that bastard says. Now he wants to know why Sunryu suddenly started dressing like a serious butler after they asked him to handle that mission. And besides, he didn't even own clothes like that. So where'd he get them? Sunryu calmly sips his tea and says he did the obvious. He stole them. Great, he's getting arrested again. Then Catherine's butler shows up in front of him. Look, the lackey. Pro says, but the man denies it and explains he just came to thank him. It was thanks to him that the young lady regained her consciousness. He never imagined she'd been going through all that. Even after serving her for years, he hadn't noticed a thing. The protagonist smirks. Interesting. Don't you think what I did was so impressive that I deserve a reward? But the butler sighs. Unfortunately, sir, I'm no longer part of the group, so yeah, I don't really have any way to pay you. The protagonist insists he deserves some kind of payment. After all, he helped the girl take down her own father. Now he's probably gonna get stabbed in his sleep. But the butler calmly replies that everyone's got the same concern. Even Catherine, she thinks someone might come after her for revenge. That's exactly why she started streaming on Twitch, man. She's there, thanking her viewers, while the protagonist looks completely confused. The butler explains, I spent all the money I got from my contract termination to build her a studio. At least now that everyone's watching her, the fame itself will keep her safe. Catherine asks the chat if they want her to do a dance reaction, and man, she's already got 360,000 viewers. The future Pokemon has entered the game. Just gotta call her viewers broke boys and sell some overpriced cookies. The butler says she doesn't really like the situation, but she's bravely holding on. The protagonist takes one look at her dancing with all those incredible attributes and says she seems to be enjoying it quite a lot. That dance even made her hips look wider out of nowhere. The butler tells him she's finally starting to recover, reclaiming everything that was denied to her all her life. He thanks Zekin, saying it's all thanks to him. But the protagonist, all awkward and irritated, tells him to cut the mushy talk. If you really want to thank me, give me a big pile of cash instead. The butler smiles and says, relax, kid. The young lady prepared something for you, something better than money. While he's standing there, he hears Catherine's stream alerts going crazy. 3,000 from Catherine's boyfriend, another 10,000 from Catherine's love, 15,000 from another fan, and now he's totally confused. She's dancing like a pro, saying she's gonna do the motorbike dance next, showing off her skills like a real entertainer. That's why influencers get paid more than doctors truly deserved. The butler thinks maybe she wasn't meant to inherit a corporation. Maybe she should just build her own empire. Cuts to the protagonist at the post office. He walks up and says, hey, anything for me? Any of your deliveries today? The blonde clerk smiles and says, yes, Mr. Zekin, something amazing arrived for you. I kept it safe. She goes to grab the item, but when she comes back, she's fuming, asking if he's out of his mind. Turns out, it's a cursed item, a whip made from the flesh of a bloodworm. Using it can make the person lose their sanity instantly. Sure, it's rare, but if you reject the curse or hesitate, you'll get hit with another random negative effect, and the summoned creature goes berserk. The protagonist realizes he's been tricked. A conniving woman actually gave him a cursed item. The scene switches to him talking with the quest manager, who says, all right, buddy, your next mission is to wipe out the goblin village. Zekin's immediately like, wait, what? The goblin village? Then Goblito shows up, and the protagonist goes, say that again? Yes, sir, the quest guy repeats. You must destroy the goblin village. The goblins, they're evil. They've been killing everyone who gets close, towns are burning down. Everything's being destroyed. Zekin puts his hand on Goblito's head and says, calm down, kid. Killing goblins is part of every game's destiny. You've got to accept that some goblins will die. But he notices Goblito doesn't look happy at all. In fact, he looks hurt and Zekin starts to worry. That's when he notices the merchant passing by dragging a chicken instead of a horse, asking where all the horses went. Zekin gets into the carriage and says, "Hey, Goblito, let's talk. You've been acting weird lately. Is this about me throwing you away after you killed that knight?" The goblin turns his back, pretending not to hear a thing. Zekin starts getting angry. He hates this attitude. But then he remembers something that Irene, that blue-haired girl, once said, one-sided relationships always end. That hits him. He says he's done. He doesn't want to argue anymore. "Let's end this once and for all," he mutters, ready to make an oath. But suddenly, another goblin climbs into the carriage holding a mace. An explosion goes off. Zekin looks back and sees goblins destroying everything. One charges straight at him. Another lunges from behind. One of them bites down hard, dealing 173 damage. Zekin grabs the creature by the torso and throws it off while his own goblin steps forward, ready to attack. Then suddenly, vroom, something rips through the carriage. It's the driver yelling, "What the hell's going on back there?" The protagonist shouts, "Damn it, can't you see? There's a goblin on me." The driver calmly replies, "A goblin. Probably because we're close to their village. Don't worry, I'll take it down with one shot." The protagonist yells, "Then shoot the one in front of me." But, oh no, they're both standing right in front of him. Bang! The guy fires anyway, and of course the bullet grazes Zekin too. Incredible. Zekin faceplants, the goblin misses his first swing, and that's when he notices the goblin that attacked him at the start is actually crying. It's begging for forgiveness, saying it thought its goblin friend had been captured and just came to rescue him. Zekin's completely stunned. This ugly little thing can talk. Sometime later, the carriage is back on the road, and Zekin's muttering, "No way. Just because I'm a goblin summoner now, I can actually understand this crap. If anyone sees this, they'll think I am a goblin." Meanwhile, the captured goblin's tied up with a rope, shouting, "Hey, let us go, bro. I was just trying to help my friend, come on." But Zekin glares and says, "Hell no, you bit my head. We're going to your village and I'm killing every single goblin myself." At that moment, the driver says, "Sir, we've arrived. The path to the goblin village is right ahead." Zekin jumps down, saying it looks like he'll have to walk from here. The driver nods, "You can go ahead, but it's going to be a tough road." Poof, and he vanishes instantly. Zekin, holding the squirming goblin like a rabbit, mutters, "I bet this place is full of traps. Better keep him alive to trigger them all." The second goblin stammers, "Why, you don't need to kill everyone. Just kill me and let the rest live. I'm the one who attacked you. Wouldn't you save a human friend if they were captured?" Zekin pulls his ear and coldly says, "No, I'd let him die." The goblin's trembling, insisting they're a peaceful race. Why do humans keep tormenting them? Zekin pauses to think, I'm only planning to kill them because that quest guy told me to, right? It's not like I have anything personal against them. I haven't even seen them do anything evil. I just assumed they were bad because they're goblins, and killing goblins is supposed to be fine. But honestly, who even cares if a goblin has family? Then, bam, a goblin mother and her child appear, calling out for their loved one. Zekin freezes. Wait, did she just say love? The injured goblin screams to them, telling Tana and Manson to forget about him and run. Zekin orders everyone to shut up, then tells the original Goblito to throw some rocks in their direction. Goblito grabs one, cracks it, and hurls it like a bullet straight toward the family. At the same time, Zekin releases the other goblin, who dashes forward, diving like a goalkeeper. Bam! Takes the hit. But no, it didn't hit his head, just his back. Zekin sighs, exhausted. Damn it, I can't kill a guy who just threw himself in front of a rock to protect his family. That'd be too cruel. Looking at the family, he thinks, that goblin lord said I'm a goblin, but honestly, I'm worse than these guys. Next scene, someone says, "Welcome to the goblin village." Zekin looks around and notices everyone staring. He finally understands why they're all so worried. He's the only human here. The goblins whisper, "Whoa, this one's ugly as hell. What happened to your face?" Zekin snaps, "I'm not a goblin." Goblin 2 laughs and says, "Relax. I told everyone you're a white goblin. Nobody's gonna believe you're human with that face." Zekin just glares in the background. He mutters, "Can I leave this damn place already? I've got better things to do." But Goblin 2 shakes his head. "No way, man. You've been forgiven, so now you gotta enjoy a good meal." They head into the house, and the family serves him a steaming bowl of goblin venom soup. Zekin warns, the damn thing literally has venom in the name. Meanwhile, the goblin mom's telling the kids to behave because they have a guest. Zekin thinks at least he's lucky this game doesn't make you taste the food for real. But just as he's lifting the spoon, one of the goblin kids bumps his hand that the soup splashes on his face. Boom, 169 HP gone. Another goblin starts laughing hysterically. Zekin yells, "Shut the hell up." Turns out it was the original Goblito laughing, while Goblin 2 asks curiously how they even ended up traveling together. "I've never seen a human and a goblin get along like this." Zekin scoffs, "Get along? I summoned this bastard. He's just a subordinate." Goblin 2 frowns. "I don't really get what summon means, but if I could travel the world as an adventurer, I'd be the most successful goblin ever. He sighs, saying he's actually jealous of Zekin and his goblin friend, because he and his family, like all the goblins in this village, can never leave this place. The protagonist thinks it's obvious why, right? Everyone believes they're trash, destined to stay stuck in those low-level dungeons forever. The wife is cuddling him, and the protagonist tells him not to hang his head like that. At least he's got a sweet wife with him. Perfect. Kim, on the other hand, is a human who doesn't even have a wife or friends. Unlike Goblin 2, who threw himself in front of the carriage to save his friend, Kim would never do something like that. He's just a pathetic guy. So Goblin 2, who's brave, would definitely turn out better than him. He tells Goblin to hang on. They're alike, and they'll both go far in life. Everyone's all emotional, but the mother's right behind him, swinging a sickle. She comes in to strike, but misses completely because the protagonist dodges. He looks sideways, confused, like, what was that? Goblin, level 18, is trembling all over with the others. Then a roach scurries across the table. She says, hey, it was the cockroach. I tried to kill it. What the protagonist didn't see was a little hellspawn kid under the table holding a knife. The original Goblin slaps the cockroach. The impact deals 9999 to the kid under the table. He's dead. The last one under the table decides to get revenge, but the protagonist goes to kill the insect too and hits it for 459. He says, whoa, I think I felt something. But both kids under the table are already dead. The protagonist says he has to leave. He wanted to stay longer, but it's urgent. Clearly, the goblins aren't very nice and the protagonist is screwed. The mother asks, what should we do, husband? He says the obvious. Thanks, the adventurer tells him to be well and to have a safe trip. The boy's emotional, thinking, goblins are such good people, they're great monsters. He tells them to take care of the kids, but suddenly a goblin body falls in front of them. An adventurer says he found another one. Now the protagonist is in a double misunderstanding. He thinks the goblins are good, while the adventurer is killing them. Everything's ruined. Then our guy sees this James dude and remembers that he even cooked for him. The orange-haired guy says, hey bro, you're a player too, right? You're out here hunting, doing quests. He sees the whole family and says, wow, there's a lot to farm here. Plenty of green guys want some help. The protagonist, though, goes into villain mode, wanting to know if he's really killing his friends. He activates PK mode and orders Goblito to attack that bastard. Goblito gives the family father a kick and sends him toward the adventurer. In midair, the guy gets one kick and dies, screaming, oh my god. The protagonist turns to the original and yells, you bastard, why did you attack that creature instead of him? But the original's just having fun laughing. The orange-haired guy asks, hey, what are you doing? I told you goblins aren't your friends, bro. Why are you challenging me for no reason? Are you crazy? The protagonist clenches his fists and says that this bastard killed his friend for no reason. He punches him straight in the face and deals 78 damage. The orange guy is like, what the hell is this? An explosion goes off in the cave and there's another group down below. The hero Zeros, level 35, shouts, where's Minchel? Looks like he's tearing everything up over there. From the way he's turned, you can already see his potential. He really can't control himself. The fighter Hyen, level 36, who wanted stronger goblins, seems like everyone's hiding and the ones out there are dying in one hit. Suddenly, a body explodes in front of her and she's startled. From above, Minchel tells them to deal with this guy. The bastard was saying the goblins were his friends and then suddenly attacked them. Hyen says, what a weird guy. Is he trying to get himself killed to go protect these goblins? Minchel says yes. The bastard activated PK mode. I didn't even hit him. He ran off and fell off this mountain like an idiot. Now it makes sense why someone so dumb would be friends with goblins. Our protagonist is crushed. Hyen comes over and says, wow, he's so ugly he might even look like a goblin. I think he'll count for the quest. Zeros agrees, saying it's better to get rid of this guy before he causes more trouble. Meanwhile, Minchel comes into the house and snaps, enough, I'm done wasting time on these dumb goblin-killing quests. He stabs the mother, who of course dies on the spot while the original Goblito is laughing his head off. Minchel says he can't believe it. Maybe it's a game, but he gets sick seeing people watching a race get slaughtered and laughing. He even saw the kids dead under the table. They did nothing. That's exactly why there are quests to exterminate people like him. It's time for him to die. Then another explosion up top. Zeros is shouting, hurry up. No more killing goblins, Minchel growls. But Zekin's cracking up, laughing so hard he can barely breathe. You guys really thought this was going to be an easy quest? Then why did we try fighting that goblin up there? Both of them look up, and there's the original Goblito, holding Minchel by the hair. Right away, the gorgeous Hai leaps in to kick him. Oh, come on, my dear Goblito, Zekin mutters. Take your time with her. Don't kill her in one hit. But nope, he's already chewing on her foot. Damn, you freak. Zekin says Goblito's about to smash her too, but Zeros rushes in with an explosive slash, freeing her from his grip. Hai looks shaken, saying that somehow that weird creature blocked her kick with his mouth. Zeros thanks her sarcastically, saying, you were just complaining that everything dies in one hit. There you go, one that can actually fight back. Hai says she's not scared, but admits the little freak's a bit too strong for a goblin his size. Meanwhile, Zekin's laughing like crazy, yelling at Minchel, saying his friends actually think they have a chance. From now on, he says, you'll all know the shame of losing to a monster anyone should be able to kill. Hai snaps, telling him to be quiet, but Zekin grins. You're all in trouble. You don't know the real nature of goblins. They never betray their friends. They're innocent, kind creatures. And now, all of you will face the consequences for what you did. Zero's frowns, muttering, forget that kid. Let's just deal with this goblin already. He steps forward, aura flaring, thinking this person has no idea what he's saying. Zekin just shouts, Goblito, finish this now. But Goblito just sits down, scratching his belly, not looking interested. The truth is, Goblito's the wise one. He understands these adventurers aren't truly the enemy, and that fighting them isn't worth it unless they attack first. But Zekin doesn't realize this. He slides forward on his knees, pleading, Goblito, please, you're amazing. Emperor, ruler of all, defeat them for us. He knows that if Goblito stops listening, he'll lose everything, his dignity and progress gone. Goblito gestures for him to raise his head. Zekin insists, stammering, apologizing for always commanding him. I'll never force you to do anything again. I'll even share my food. You can have a larger portion. Hai stands there confused. Wasn't this guy just talking to the goblin? Now he's kneeling? Zeros opens his mouth to comment on both of them, and suddenly takes 99,999 damage. Hai stares in shock as Zekin smiles, saying, my prayers have been answered. The system message appears. The Goblin Lord is pleased by your humility. You've earned +1 goblin point. Zekin turns toward her. Your turn. Hai trembles, saying this doesn't make sense. But seeing Zero's fallen body, she can't understand how a goblin defeated him in one strike. It seems completely unfair to have a creature that's strong at a low-level quest. She starts running, saying she must regroup with her team in town and form a new plan. But Zekin looks at her with pity. She really thinks she can escape after confronting Goblito. Suddenly, something grabs her ankle. She falls face first to the ground. Zekin spreads his arms and declares, my great race, our time of oppression ends here. No more missions of destruction. No more living trapped in this cursed place. Your leader has arrived, and from now on, our enemies are humans. The goal, to defeat them all. Hai trembles on the ground as he orders all goblins in the city to gather. The rebellion begins now. She lies on the floor, shaking while he continues shouting about the goblin uprising. This feels like Goblin Slayer, someone murmurs. The scene shifts to the top of Alabaster city walls. A soldier says, hey, what do you think about goblins? The other shrugs, what do you mean goblins what? Before they can continue, they see smoke rising on the horizon. The green horde is charging at full speed. What's coming? One yells. The infinite goblin army. They watch as Zekin is carried at the front, shouting to his comrades, vowing to defeat every last human in the city. But before that, a flashback to 3 hours earlier when he first gave the order. It was right when Hai was in that helpless position, and they were all chanting, attack, attack. But Zekin raised his hand, wait, don't harm this woman. Defeating players made them respawn, and he wasn't about to let her escape so easily after what she had done to their race. He told her, your friends are gone. They probably fainted in real life from the shock. They can't even press the revive button right now. Do you really want to feel that same pain? She trembled, terrified, trying to crawl away. The camera angled low, showing her fear. Zekin smirked, saying, you'll help me lead them. He then rode into battle, using her as a mount, leading the entire goblin army forward. He told her not to think about logging out. All her money and weapons were in his hands. She growled back that fine, but he'd have to return everything once this was over. At that same moment, in another part of the city, someone bursts through a tavern door, shouting that they're being invaded by goblins. Over at the Adventurers Guild, a strong warrior laughs, ridiculous. Invaded by goblins? The scholar next to him adjusts his glasses and mutters, they're just beginner monsters. Nothing to worry about. The blue-haired elf iron says they shouldn't get involved. The guards can handle it. A group of adventurers in blue uniforms leaning against the wall say it's probably just some special event. Sounds entertaining, actually. But the redhead in the group snaps that they don't have time for this nonsense. They've got more important things to prepare for in the next dungeon. The blonde guy, trying to calm everyone down, says, relax, this is self-defense. We should at least check what's happening. And right then, boom, the first goblin crashes through the window. The guy pulls out his gun and bang, kills it instantly. Yeah, he says, we're actually being invaded by goblins. That's insane. The spiky-haired dude admits he thought it was a joke until dozens more start flooding in through the windows. He unsheathes his flaming sword and cuts through waves of them, laughing while he farms kills. His username? Just a spam of letters. ASFD, a level 58 Flame Knight, Guild Master of Hellfire. He jokes that he thought it'd be a fun event, but there are hundreds of goblins. That's when Jamini, a level 52 Mage and Scholar, shouts, no, not hundreds, tens of thousands. The bar is instantly swallowed by a sea of goblins. The man can't even swing his sword. He's being drowned in green bodies. The blonde sniper, Horace Philiver, level 62, Guild Master of Armstrong, yells that the city's really in danger now. Beside him, his vice leader, Charlotte Stone, calmly touches the little beauty mark near her lip and says, "Exactly. That's why I need you to stay still." He stares at her confused, but before he can argue, Iron gets up and says, "These ones aren't nearly as cute as the others." She summons her familiar, Michelle, a giant cat-wolf hybrid, which bursts into the streets tearing through goblins by the dozens. Meanwhile, Zekin orders the goblin army to keep attacking the city, to make the humans feel the same humiliation the goblins once suffered. Players are panicking. The girl he's riding freaks out, accidentally punches a goblin in the head, and kills it instantly. She realizes she's level 34 and these creatures are weak. The other adventurers notice too. There are a ton of them, but they're not that strong. Now the goblins are trembling. Then, 3 fireballs streak through the air. Even the archers are launching magic now. Explosions everywhere. The players are laughing, saying today they'll level up like crazy. Zekin can't believe how fast they switched from panic to confidence. He runs up to the Great Goblin, begging him to lend just a fraction of his overwhelming power and help his people. Poor Hai is in total shock, whispering she should probably log out now. From the fire, the Great Goblin stands tall, handing his mace to another one of his kin. The creature walks calmly through the flames while the bald adventurer stares confused. Then, smash, and direct hit to the forehead. But the monster's unfazed. A split second later, 3 adventurers are blown to pieces. Zekin smirks. That's what you get for messing with goblins. The army marches forward. Corpses pile up. Zekin waves his hands, saying, all right, guys, they're dead. Stop hitting them." But the goblins don't stop. "Hey, enough already," he yells, "control yourselves." But it's too late. Some of them drag a woman by the hair into an alley. Zekin shouts, "Hey, what do you think you're doing?" He grabs one by the shoulder, but it turns and bites his hand. He realizes these bastards have gone completely feral. And then, a blinding slash cuts through everything. That's Shin, the one they said was level 999999, ridiculously overpowered. He walks forward, effortlessly slicing down every single goblin in sight. Zekin recognizes him instantly. Shin demands, "Why did the goblins come here? Do you know anything about this?" Zekin shakes his head. No idea, man." Shin frowns. "I see. The problem is there are too many of them. Even weak monsters can overwhelm us if this keeps up. I'll end it all in one strike." Zekin stops him. "Wait, maybe they just couldn't take it anymore. Think about it. We keep giving out quests to kill every goblin in every cave, even when they haven't done anything wrong. You people call them evil, but that's exactly why they became like this." Shin snaps back, "They are evil. That's why they need to be exterminated." Zekin grits his teeth. "You bastard. You've never even talked to one." Shin blinks, confused. "Why would I? Their minds are corrupted by greed. Talking to them is pointless." That's when Zekin explodes, yelling, "Goblins have families. They raise their kids. They're more human than most humans I've met." But Shin keeps a cold tone. He says goblins only pretend to have families. They're nothing more than monsters born from the abyss, incapable of giving birth or raising children. That whole family thing is just a trick to fool adventurers. He doesn't think they need to be completely exterminated, since they serve a role in this world's balance, but any growth of goblin settlements is a threat to everyone else. Their numbers must stay under control or the balance collapses. Kim snaps back, calling him a liar. Even if that's true, hasn't he ever thought about the thousands he's killed? Shin sighs, "Kid, you've never lived with goblins, have you? I guarantee if you went into one of their homes, they'd serve you poison." Zekin stops to think and realizes that's actually true. He remembers when they tried to feed him soup literally called goblin venom, when the mother almost sliced his head off, and when that little gremlin under the table came out with a knife. Suddenly, it all clicks. He's in a game world, monsters don't even reproduce, so these bastards were pretending all along. He remembers that family and realizes the whole setup was fake from the start. His eyes widen and he bolts off toward Hyane, who's standing there nervously, her skin glistening under the light, wondering if now's the best time to run. Zekin leaps behind her, saying the plans have changed. He grabs the original Goblito, activates his healing ability, and yells for everyone to listen. The Messiah commands you, stop fighting now. But the goblins keep tearing through the streets, smashing skulls against the pavement. He realizes things are spiraling out of control. They're no longer obeying him. He shouts again, begging them to listen to the Messiah. Some nearby adventurer gives him a weird look. "Why are you holding that goblin by the armpits like that?" Zekin panics. "Crap, that looks bad." He instantly performs a full WWE-style move, slamming the goblin's head into the ground. "That's my special attack." The guy bursts out laughing. "What an insane suplex, kid. For a second, I thought you were behind this whole incident." Zekin freezes. How the hell did he even guess that? The man walks off, and Goblin Ace, still dazed, gets up mumbling, "Friend, I didn't do a suplex on you. I just tripped backward." Then the original Goblito appears, rock in hand, and smacks him across the face. But Zekin yanks Hyan at the last second, and she's the one who takes the rock straight to the mouth. He looks down and says solemnly, "I'll never forget your brave sacrifice," then tosses her aside, furious. "Did you just throw a rock at me, you bastard?" He's had enough. He's losing patience. The next rock goes flying into the sky, and Irene spots it from afar, confused. She looks down and sees Zekin standing before the goblin, with a whip strapped across his back. Her eyes widen. He forgot to remove the curse. The whip's negative effect triggers. Zekin's eyes go blood red. He laughs manically, shouting, "Now I understand why Catherine gave this to me. It was meant to beat the crap out of you." He raises the whip, ready to strike. Irene screams, rushing toward him. Boom! A massive explosion. Cut to Asfad standing amid chaos downtown, laughing while slashing through goblins. Ha! Killing them by the thousands. Not bad for a warm-up. Jay, meeting his companion, warns him to focus. His healing's nearly at its limit, and adventurers are dying everywhere. Asfad just grins. Who cares? If they die, it's cause they're weak. The strong survive. Meanwhile, Horace laughed is sniping goblins left and right. Headshots exploding non-stop. That's the 100th headshot. He cheers. Charlotte, his vice captain, frowns. Calm down. You fired 100 shots and killed 99 monsters. Even if they're trash mobs. I'm recording everything properly. Horace smirks. I'm sure you are, but you missed that one. A bullet flies past her, just as a goblin lunges from behind. Blood splatters across the wall. Horace reloads and grins. That one was for you, sweetheart. The streets are pure chaos. Adventurers dying, goblins swarming, Asfad surrounded by fire and confusion. He clenches his flaming sword. Fine then. I'll show you how real farming is done. The goblins freeze, afraid, except one pale-skinned goblin slowly walking toward him. Jamie warns the leader, "Hold up, something's coming." Out of the crowd, the pale creature emerges, deranged, furious, eyes glowing. The scholar shouts, "Be careful." But Asfad's already leaped forward, activating explosive meteor. A pillar of fire bursts through the city, smoke and flames everywhere. He laughs hysterically. Goblin or dragon, everything burns. But then, a single footstep emerges from the blaze. Asfad stares, dumbfounded, as the creature walks out unscathed. Moments earlier, Irene had screamed at Zekin to stop, but he ignored her, cracking the whip straight into Goblino's head. A crimson aura erupted skyward. Irene gasped, realizing she was too late. "Why would you do something so stupid?" she cried. "Dismiss that creature right now." But Zekin's eyes roll back. The system flashes, status, unconscious. And right then, the Goblino loses his mind completely. Irene comments that the enraged state drastically increases a monster's stats. She's confident she can handle a creature at that level, but suddenly something's right in front of her. Goblino lunges, almost biting her face off, and she barely dodges, jumping back. The real problem with the berserk state is that summoned creatures stop recognizing their master. In that instant, her cat bites the protagonist and spits him out like a furball. The next second, she summons a bird that swoops in and catches him midair. Even then, Goblino charges forward at full speed. Irene tells Michiel to hit the boy lightly, just enough to wake him up, but her familiar's forced to defend itself instead, and boom, it takes a clean 99-99 hit. Michiel stands frozen in shock as Goblino slams into the ground, then immediately jumps back up to attack again. But Irene isn't just anyone. She's fierce. She summons a Jage's spirit and raises an elemental barrier, but Goblino winds up a punch, smashes through with a single blow, and shatters it like glass. Behind the barrier, she's being flung backward along with the boy and her bird, realizing that the damage window she saw wasn't an illusion. If he doesn't unsummon this goblin soon, people are going to get seriously hurt. She shouts for Romeo to get them out of there. The bird rockets into the sky, but Goblino slams both fists into the ground, launching a storm of boulders into the air, grabbing them mid-flight, and hurling them like bullets. The bird dodges the first few while Irene orders it to go full speed. It darts between the projectiles until Goblino swings again, baseball style, and one stone hits like a sniper shot, landing another 99-99. They both plummet. Irene mutters that she knew their next encounter wouldn't be boring. As they fall, she reaches out, grabs his hand, and pulls him close. The ground explodes on impact. Goblino, still raging, continues rampaging through the city until he runs straight into Asfad, who's standing among the flames, astonished that the creature actually survived. He activates another ability of the Eternal Flame Knight and charges forward with everything he's got. Someone warns the captain that the monster just tanked a meteor attack without flinching. It's Gemini, shouting that this one's different from the others. It's time to use that ability. But Asfad snaps shut. Accepting help is the same as losing. Just stand there and watch like you always do. Gemini mutters that his master always says that even though he's supposed to have a 160 IQ, yet somehow he keeps rushing in like an idiot. He has no idea what he's walking into. Asfad's blazing sword is coming down straight for Goblino head, but the monster grins a twisted, feral smile. From the horizon, you can see the entire city flash as 99-99 numbers erupt across the screen. The other adventurers freeze in disbelief. Horace and Charlotte exchange glances. Something's wrong. Did you just see that? Gemini's paralyzed. He's just witnessed maximum damage output. The worst part is when a player receives that much pain feedback, enough to exceed HP limits, their sensory system fries. They're usually retired on the spot. He screams, fearing his master is dead, until a hand lands on his head. Huh? Asfad. There he is, alive, grinning. Stop bawling like that. For a so-called genius, your strategy's garbage. Since your IQ is supposedly 160, how about you come up with a plan to kill something that deals a million damage per hit? Gemini thinks for a moment. Honestly, the logical move is to run, since winning's literally impossible. But maybe we can land a single hit if his resistance is weak somewhere. Asfad's eyes light up. He loves that kind of gamble. So we just need one move, huh? Then I'll end this with the next strike. He charges in again, flames blazing while Gemini shouts for him to wait for the signal. They can't be the ones to attack first, no matter what. He knows no one has landed a successful hit yet. Meanwhile, every time the monster barely grazes something, it deals 99.99. In theory, something this broken shouldn't even exist. But with the legendary skill Eternal Fire King, there might be a chance. It ignores all defense and deals pure direct damage. Goblito turns, glaring over his shoulder with that horrifying grin. His crooked foot twitches, then he leaps again. Gemini knows it's suicide to fight this thing, but Asfad's too proud to back down. He just needs to make sure this reckless attack at least means something. He activates his Scholar's ability. A glowing sigil spreads across the ground, stretching outward like an antenna field, expanding into a domain zone. Within it, everything must obey his commands. He triggers Forced Halt, a control spell that freezes the target for 8 seconds. The stronger the target, the shorter the duration. Now Asfad! Gemini yells, just as Goblito swings midair, his shadow blotting out the light. Asfad lowers his head and mutters, I never thought this damn thing would be this strong. He admits this opponent won't be easy to deal with, but he's going all in now. He activates one of his skills, his HP's down to a single point, and the lower his health gets, the higher his damage multiplies. Then boom, he slams 347,540 straight into Goblito. Looked like a direct hit, but the creature's just twitching its head like it's mocking him, tiny devil horns flickering up for show. Gemini's completely lost. Barely 2 seconds have passed since Asfad activated that skill, and Goblito's already counterattacking. He swings down at Asfad, but right before impact, Asfad disappears. Gemini's used realignment, teleporting him at the last possible instant. In the shared party chat, Gemini's already yelling that if Asfad keeps this up, they're both dead. Risking your life for real in a damn game is insane. Around them, the others agree. Asfad just dealt over 300,000 damage and the goblin still looks untouched. Anyone who's terrified of taking a hit just immediately logs out. Honestly, I do the same. No way I'm sticking around to get fried through a headset. Horace turns to Charlotte. Hey, maybe we should bail too. There's no way we can handle this. She nods. Finally, something smart from you, and starts logging out. But right then, she glances sideways and realizes he lied. He's not logging out at all. He just wanted her gone. Once you disconnect, the server blocks you from returning for 10 minutes. Asfad's cheering. Gemini, shut up already. Did you see the damage I dealt? That could have been half his HP, and now you want to quit? Gemini snaps, telling him to stop being insane. One more hit, and they're toast. Realignment has cooldown time. He's trying to explain the goblin's attack patterns when a massive rock comes flying toward Asfad's head. Of course, it's Goblito. Horace fires off a burst, blowing the rock to dust midair. Asfad freezes, realizing he hadn't even reacted. Horace calls out, "You're lucky I shot that down. That thing looked nasty." Then he adds, "I can help you out here, but I'm taking all the rewards." Asfad smirks. "Fine by me. In this fight, I can't afford to keep my pride intact anyway. Just don't get in my way." Horace cracks his neck. "Deal. Let's go." They charge together. Horace leaps in with effortless swagger, firing off rounds from behind. "This is starting to get unfair," he laughs. 2 bullets land clean on Goblito's back, 0 damage. At the same time, Asfad's already behind the creature again, his eternal fire ablaze. When he strikes, boom, 412,000 damage. The explosion wipes out half the street. Gemini's stunned. These two are completely insane. The odds of dying here are astronomical, and yet they're not retreating, because they aren't afraid of dying. They'd rather burn them back off. Through the flames, Goblito charges again at full speed, and that's when the protagonist wakes up, holding his head, groaning. Ugh, what the hell happened? His hand brushes something soft and round. Oh, that feels nice. Turns out he's holding 2 goblin heads. Oh wait, he actually landed on Irene, the ultimate airbag. She shoved him off, embarrassed and furious, saying it's a shame he woke up. He's sitting there with that dumb, confused face while she yells at him to stop squeezing the goblin's heads. Then she demands to know who that childlike goblin was and what his connection is to it. She insists he needs to unsummon that creature immediately. He's puzzled. Why? She snaps, "Do you seriously not remember what you did? You used that cursed blood wit without lifting the curse. You blacked out, and now your creature's rampaging across the map." She explains that his poor goblin must be heartbroken, hurting people uncontrollably. For his sake, and everyone else's, he needs to unsummon it right now. But Zekin confesses he doesn't even know how. There's no unsummon button for this pet. It's never existed. Iron stares in disbelief. "Wait, what? You're the summoner. How can you not have an unsummon command?" He mutters that he'd love to get rid of it more than anyone else. She scolds him, saying he's cruel, you can't treat your creature like that. He snaps back that she's the one getting too attached, naming it, caring for it. She's sticking her nose where she shouldn't. Most of these people have hurt me before, or will eventually, so if they suffer a little now, who cares? Besides, maybe you should start worrying about yourself because that monster doesn't take physical or mental damage anymore. As he's ranting, something shoots through the air. Goblito's body gets launched backward. Zekin turns and sees the damage display, 780,000. The question hits him hard. Is Goblito really invincible? Or does he actually have a life limit? Asgad strolls forward, grinning with confidence. "Why were you hiding a monster like this?" Goblito's still midair but lands perfectly on his feet, eyes glowing. He charges again toward Asvad. Asvad smirks. "All right then. If you're not satisfied, you'll get my final blow." He raises his blade, but suddenly curses. He's out of mana. The moment he realizes it, it's already too late. Goblito's right in front of him, grabbing his face with both hands. Luckily, Gemini's realignment skill had just cooled down and Asvad is teleported away at the last second. Gemini's already screaming, "What the hell are you doing, you idiot? You said you were gonna win? So why you drop your sword?" He punches him in the chest, shouting that he should win like always. For a second, it looks like he might take fatal damage just from the hit. Thankfully, no. Asgad glares at him, face covered in sweat and tears, demanding to know why Gemini wants to throw his life away. But Gemini yells right back, telling him to shut up, that screaming like a lunatic only makes them look like they've already lost. Then he calls out to Horus, "I'm out. If you want to keep fighting, that's on you, but I'm not responsible for your death." Horus sighs, saying he's done too. This mess isn't entertaining anymore. Asvad looks off into the distance, confused, and then sees a trail of smoke and someone running toward them. It's Zekin, sprinting for his life, a whole army of goblins chasing him. Asvad freezes when he sees the damage report. Goblito just took 800,000 damage. Now that's a problem. If that green monster dies, Zekin's going straight back into the pit he came from. Asvad clenches his fist, thinking about using that recall skill again, but Irene stops him immediately, saying that would be insane. You can't just throw yourself in there. We need to remove the rage debuff first. Unsummoning isn't the only option. Zekin asks her how she could be so sure. What about that last explosion? That had to have been caused by the Fire Guild's master himself. Irene explains that when any minion's HP hits 0, it's usually dismissed automatically, resetting all its stats. He shouts, "So you're saying I should just let Goblito die to Hellfire Guild? And what if he never comes back?" She answers calmly, "He will. He'll just fall asleep and respawn later. Pets don't actually die. That's how it works in this world." But Zekin reminds her he's not a summon. "I told you, he doesn't follow those rules." Iron's expression shifts. "Then you're risking your life for him." Zekin snaps, voice breaking. "That goblin's the only thing keeping me alive. I'm not going back to that reality where I don't exist. I'd rather die here." He's screaming from pure selfishness, but Irene looks at him like it's the sweetest thing she's ever heard, like watching someone rescue a stray puppy. The misunderstanding hits hard. She's thinking, how can someone love their creature this much? He values that goblin more than his own life. If he were the owner of that pet, he would have never died. She grabs his hand and says softly, "I'm sorry. I won't let the companion you love so much die. No matter what happens, we'll change everything." And damn, she looks stunning in that frame. Hips for miles. Zekin pulls his hand away. "Don't act like you know what to do if you don't have a plan." Iron, however, says she's found a solution. After analyzing his creature, she concluded that a monster with uncontrollable rage is like a pet abandoned for too long. The fastest way to reach its heart, she says, is by feeding it. Zekin blinks. "Feeding him? That's not going to be easy." "I know," she says, "but it's the quickest way to calm him down." He thinks about it, then remembers the time he threw food at Goblito during a fight. The goblin bolted straight for it. And since that day, he realizes he's never fed him again. He quickly pulls a goblin snack out of his inventory and wonders if this might actually work. "It's been forever since he's eaten," he mutters, and then bolts off. "I'm going after him." Iron calls after him, "Wait, why don't you just summon Goblito if you've got food?" Then she freezes. She sees one rushing right past him. Zekin's sprinting for his life. He looks back. Goblito's charging right behind him and glances down at the item in his hand. Goblin Sausage Deluxe, a legendary item said to be so good it could bring even a divorced goblin wife back home. Every goblin in sight has their tongue out, drooling, chasing him like maniacs. Zekin runs harder, completely panicking. Asgad sees the chaos from a distance, totally confused. Horus smirks. Looks like they're starving for something. Tongues out and everything. Anyway, I'm out of here. Zekin dashes past like a stampeding whale, goblins right on his tail. Asfad grabs Gemini, tosses him upward and shouts, "See you later." At least Gemini goes out fighting, dying to the goblin swarm for a pitiful 28 damage. The streets are chaos again, Zekin surrounded, panting. "You really left without my permission, Goblito?" he yells. The creature's glowing red with rage. Zekin lifts his hand, showing the sausage. "Here, your favorite food? I don't have much time, so hurry up and eat." The goblin drools, eyes wild, saliva dripping as Zekin holds out his arm. "You're a good boy. This sausage is delicious." Goblito leans in, tongue out, about to bite, but then a swarm of goblins crashes into them, fighting to snatch the sausage. Zekin's crushed underfoot, taking non-stop damage. Goblito's trapped in the middle of the crowd, desperately trying to reach the food. There are too many of them. Zekin's being trampled alive, yelling, "These damn things, this world is literally trying to kill me." And that's when it hits him. Maybe Shin was right. Maybe goblins really do need to be exterminated. A mountain of goblins piles up, and there he is, at the very top, barely holding the sausage above his head. The camera zooms out slowly, showing the chaos below. The whole ground starts collapsing, breaking apart beneath everyone's feet. In an instant, everyone is floating high in the sky while the explosion. Turns out, Skim Cholsu's armor had that crazy 1% chance of triggering an ability that wipes out everything nearby. He plummets into the abyss as the system flashes a message: "You've annihilated generations of goblins who once trusted you." As a reward, he earns another goblin point. At that same moment, the first, the only, the original Goblito starts leaping from stone to stone through the sky, catches Skim mid-fall, and drags him back up. When Skim opens his eyes, he sees that big goofy goblin face again, tongue hanging out, looking dumb but loyal. Skim sighs, "You little bastard, you could just told me you were hungry." He drops the sausage on the ground, instantly gets tackled, and watches as Goblito happily chomps down on it. Skim just lies there, face down, exhausted, staring at the dirt. Then, quest complete. Exterminate the goblins of the village. 18,783/30 goblins defeated. And guess who shows up? That's right, Iron Wide Hips herself. She crosses her arms and says, "It looks like his rage has finally calmed down. At least that's a relief. But, did you really kill all these goblins?" Skim blinks. "What, you came here to yell at me again?" She shakes her head. "No, I yelled earlier because I was worried about you. But now I'm going to be direct. Were you the one who caused this goblin attack?" Skim's face twists. "Of course not. I never do something like that." She sighs. "No matter how many goblins you brought, hundreds, thousands, in the end, they weren't strong enough to deal any real damage to players. Most of them just respond. But still, you attacked countless innocent people. Because of that, you owe everyone something." Skim groans. Yeah, I know. I was already planning to." A while later, a group of adventurers arrives at the site. One of them points at the massive crater. "Yo, what kind of explosion was that?" When they reach the edge, they freeze, staring down at a sea of shining loot. A treasure field of rewards from Skim's 18,000+ goblin kills. But then the scene cuts. We're now in some strange, dimly lit conference room. Someone speaking. "I heard the outcome this time was interesting." Another voice follows. "Bring up the results for G67. Then a bald man with a thick beard, who looks suspiciously like Sunryu, nods and says, "Yes, it's confirmed. He produced damage in the 999,999 range, just shy of the theoretical limit." Someone else replies, "Not even the most sadistic criminals in existence could reach numbers like that. It's the kindness in the human heart that weakens minions or makes them uncontrollable. Since G67 lacked human consciousness, he became the perfect vessel." The bald one smirks. "Indeed, a great success." Another voice agrees, though somberly. "It's a shame so many had to be sacrificed in this incident, but after countless resets, we finally found our savior." They continue, "But for G67 to summon a goblin like that means he's deeply connected to them, different from every other summoner we've tested. If someone like him carries that kind of power, he could destroy everything." The bearded man nods. "I'm aware. That's exactly why we, the Iscariot, exist." "Yeah, you thought you could hide behind that black and white filter with that shiny bald head? Nice try, Paul. Honestly, it's hard to understand what the hell this meeting even means, except that there's clearly someone manipulating things behind the scenes, either tied to Goblito or to Skim himself." Cut to Skim again, now back home, slouched at his desk, scrolling through the news about the Alabaster City incident. Apparently, Iron's idea worked. By handing over all that loot to the players, everyone calmed down and started assuming it was just an in-game event, not something he caused. On TV, a player is being interviewed. "Before getting all that treasure, I wanted to kill whoever was responsible for this mess. But now, I just want to punch the guy once and call it even." Skim sighs. "That was way too close. I can't believe I trusted those damn green freaks." He leans back, rubbing his eyes. And that stupid goblin of mine went berserk just because I forgot to feed him. Seriously, being a summoner without knowing anything about the class is getting dangerous. He thinks for a moment. I should ask that wide-hip troublemaker more about this stuff next time I see her. She seems to summon some seriously high-level creatures. Then he pauses. Wait a sec. Why is a woman like that even helping me? From the start, it's been weird. The first time we met, she called me an adorable kid out of nowhere and even asked for my name. He chuckles. She's kinda cute though. Maybe I should ask her out? What he doesn't notice is Sungryu standing right next to him glaring. Skim jumps, eyes wide. Sungryu calmly takes a seat beside him. Relax, kid. You seem really troubled lately. I'm glad I came to check on you. Skim leans back annoyed. Sungryu, you want to slap on that shiny head? You have any idea how bad my situation is right now? Sungryu nods. I know, kid. It's because of the goblin. Skim freezes for a moment, completely thrown off. Yeah, it's true, he says cautiously. But how the hell do you know that too? Sungryu just smirks. It's obvious, kid. Besides, it seems like your Goblito isn't as insanely strong and immortal as we thought. That's what's worrying me. Skim frowns, confused. What do you mean he's not as strong anymore? Sungryu explains calmly. It's not that he isn't strong. It's that he won't be for much longer. Apparently, they found a bug in the summoner class and they're patching it soon. Maybe I'm jumping to conclusions, but I think the only reason you're powerful at all is because of your goblin, and maybe because of that bug. That hits Skim like a truck. He jumps up, eyes wide. Wait, what? Are you serious right now? They're really gonna fix the bug? Who told you that? Right then, he overhears two guys chatting on their PCs nearby. Yo, you hear about the update? Yeah, just some patch stuff. They're fixing bugs, and apparently summoner class got it too. Skim just stands there, devastated. Back in the game, he's furiously picking up rocks and throwing them, one after another, while Goblito tilts his head, confused. Skim's losing it, muttering that his creature is ridiculously strong, broken, even. But if they're updating the game just to patch the bug, then it has to be about him. And the worst part? The patch goes live in 1 week. He clenches his fists. No way. I'm not going back to that pathetic life again. So in that 1 week, he decides he needs to make millions before everything's gone. Cut to Shinin, who's looking unimpressed. Kid, killing 30 goblins isn't a big deal. But Skim snaps. I killed 18,000 goblins. He grabs Goblito by the arm like a weapon, ready to swing. Shin raises a brow. Put that thing down. Skim yells, shut it already and give me the next quest. Who do I have to kill? Shin chuckles slyly. You'll need to be level 40 for that. Skim freezes. He's only 37, barely inching toward 38. What? That can't be right. How do I only gain 1 level after killing 10,000 goblins? None of it makes sense. So he heads to the Adventurers Guild, scrolling through quest listings for anything that pays well. The problem? All the good ones are taken. There's one mission left, the Demon Mask quest, that pays only 10,000 gold. Not great, but it's the highest level quest available. Whatever, he mutters. I'll take it. But just as he touches the quest board, there it is. That glowing blue hand. And when he turns around, yep, it's High warning the girl with the blue delicious leggings. She stumbles backward and shrieks, you perverted jerk, what are you doing here? Skim tries to calm her down. Hey, chill, that's a little harsh, don't you think? Everyone around them immediately assumes the worst. Oh no, he's harassing her. Get him. He's insane. They surround him instantly, calling him a lunatic who deserves to die. But then someone else steps forward and pulls the Demon Mask quest slip off the board. It's Akre at a mage around level 32. If you two are done yelling, she says, come with me, children. Skim glares. Hey, old lady, don't you dare steal my quest. I saw it first. Upray narrows her eyes. Young man, you might want to get your eyes checked. Read the fine print. She points to the bottom of the quest board, tiny letters so small even I had to squint. Minimum party requirement, 3 players. Skim stands there, stunned. Wait, I have to bring 2 people with me? He sighs and points at High. Fine, she might be somewhat useful. But what about you, Grandma? Alkray smirks, and you can look for a friend in that crowd behind you. Skim glances back and instantly regrets it. Everyone's glaring at him, whispering. That's the weirdo who got mixed up with Catherine Lee. No one wants anything to do with him. He groans. Fine, whatever. I'll take the old lady, she's in. And just like that, the party's full. High's horrified, but she doesn't have a choice. The system locks in the team. A few moments later, High's punching a massive bear right in the jaw, knocking it over, muttering under her breath, why am I stuck near this bastard again? Skim yells from behind her, can you hurry up already? You're so slow. She shouts back, you think I can move faster than this? These monsters are high level and have insane HP. Can you one-shot them or something? He sighs dramatically. It's just some common mobs. Then he smirks. You know what? Since they're fixing the bug soon, who cares if people find out about my goblin? He summons Goblito. The green beast charges straight ahead, dashing past High to land the first strike, and immediately gets blasted in the face by a massive fireball, Opera waves her staff. Don't worry, I'll handle this goblin easily. Skim snaps, hey, stop getting in my way. Out of the smoke, Goblito appears again, eyes glowing, and smashes the bear with a 999 damage crit. The beast drops instantly. Everyone stares. High's frozen, voice trembling. Well, what is that goblin doing here again? Skim crosses his arms. That's my summoned creature. She blinks. You're telling me you summoned that thing? Exactly, he says proudly. I summoned the most powerful creature in this game, the one that kills everything in a single hit. Skim Cholsu tells her it's better if she doesn't get involved. Just stay back and watch. They keep moving deeper into the cave while Hyde chats with the old lady, curious why she plays Gate of Heaven and the game they're in. Opera smiles softly and says it's because of her husband. Hyde gets emotional. That's so sweet. You started playing because of your husband? That's actually romantic. Tell me more about him. What class is he? Before the old lady can answer, Gobolito suddenly stiffens, eyes glowing, and Skim glances up. There he is, the target of our quest. Hyde gasped. Wait, that's supposed to be the demon with the mask? What the hell is that thing? Opere's face darkens. Don't get close. Then we cut to a flashback. Opere in real life, caring for her husband lying inside a VR capsule. She teases him. You used to complain that this thing took up too much space, and now you don't ever leave it. The old man chuckles. Well, I get bored easily, and these old joints can't move much anymore. At least this way, I can still have some fun. She nods and hands him an apple. At least the government's paying for this now. Helps pass the time. Man, it's kind of depressing but realistic at the same time. People growing old and spending their last days inside VR worlds. Back in the flashback, we see the moment Oak Ray logs into the game for the first time. The old man nearly has a heart attack. Ray, what are you doing here? She laughs. I borrowed a friend's headset. This place is amazing. He frowns. Your username is terrible. She pouts, acting like a real grandma. How can you see usernames anyway? Just look above people's heads, he says. Then she looks up at his and blushes immediately. Why did you pick that name? That's ridiculous. Cut to the present, and now in-game, they're standing face-to-face with a warrior named I Love Park Okray, level 39. Skim stares in disbelief. What the hell? Her husband turned into a monster? The man glares at them while Hai shouts, Ma'am, stay back. He's dangerous. The masked warrior raises his sword, but Okray steps forward. I'm sorry, dear, but you need to rest now. She channels her magic, pressing her hand to his chest, activating Shadow Bomb. The blast explodes point blank and Skim's jaw drops. Holy crap, Granny's a beast. But suddenly she dashes past him and bam, the demonic mask flies off and sticks itself to Skim's face. Gobolito freezes in terror. And if he's scared? Yeah, that's bad news. Hai looks around confused. Did the old lady kill the monster? We see Off-Rage riding her husband, now untransformed out of the rubble. Hai notices the names. The old woman's Okray, and the monster's was I Love Okray. Ah, everything makes sense now. She realizes the old lady wasn't saying she'd them, but actually the old man. Now Hai's standing there in her tight blue leggings and must be very warm, so let me feel it please. Damn intrusive thoughts, looking annoyed, while Gobolito sprints past her in panic. She turns around. Why is he running like that? And when she looks back, oh god. Skim's turned into a bloated, pregnant-looking elf hybrid with giant ears. It's horrifying. What in the hell? She whispers. That's the worst design I've ever seen. Looks like something from one of those cursed AI websites. Hai bolts instantly. I hate meeting this idiot. Skim chases after her, reaching from her shoulder. But she spins around and kicks him in the chin. The mask flies off his face and he crashes to the ground. Hai crosses her arms. Guess I figured it out, knocked them out, and the mask comes off. Except the mask doesn't stay still. It shoots off and latches onto the next person nearby. Skim groans, waking up. Something feels off. That mask did something weird to me. He stands up, looking around. Where's the group? He freezes. Hai standing there, buffed like a bodybuilder, towering over him. Skim tries to sneak away quietly, pretending he's invisible. Heh, maybe if I just... Too late. She grabs him by the collar and slams him into a wall. Take it easy, we're friends. Let's go step by step, he cries. But she punches him right in the gut. Skim panics, calling out for Gobolito, even triggering rally command while she keeps beating him down. He ends up using Gobolito as a shield, every hit dealing 0-0 damage. That's when he realizes the cursed mask completely takes control of whoever wears it. He shouts, Gobolito, mince smash. Gobolito grabs a nearby mace and swings, but the mask flies off Hai's face mid-swing, dodging and darting through the air. It zooms straight toward Gobolito, but only bumps his nose and bounces back. The mask hovers, confused, then slides around before redirecting towards Skim. Skim sprints away. Oh, come on. He sees two old folks running ahead and yells, There you are, you Dan Jeezers. He points accusingly. So, Granny, you set me up, huh? He notices her username, Akai, and realizes something. The old man's username was also Akai. He frowns. Wait a minute. Are you two family related? She laughs. No, dear. We're husband and wife. Skim glares. So that bastard tricked me. You lured me into this quest just to trap me here. He growls, when we get out of this, you're all dead. He charges forward, leaving the two elders behind, panting from exhaustion. Suddenly, the mask slaps itself onto Wakai's face. She drops her husband, who's barely conscious. Skim skids to a stop. Wait, it's Matt after me this time. The old man opens his eyes, weakly mumbling, Kid, you really are a bastard. A young man like you should suffer for your elders. Skim snaps, yeah, well, it's not my job to suffer for free. And it's not me putting this mask on anyone. He points at the old man. You're the one playing crap like this at your age. You know this game's full of Megner stuff. What if you had a heart attack mid-fight? Just then, Hai and Goblito come running in. Skim grins. Well, look who's back, minions number 1 and 2. He tilts his head. Wait, how are you even alive after that hit to the head? Hai crosses her arms. You can't deal damage to party members unless you activate PK mode, genius. Skim blinks. Yeah, speaking of that, did you hear? That old lady tricked us. She wanted to free her husband from the mask but trapped us here instead. Hai interrupts him. Hey Kim, do you secretly wish you were a goblin? He stares blankly. What the hell are you talking about? Of course not. You've lost it. She raises an eyebrow. No, I mean not a weak goblin, like your super strong summoned one. Do you ever wish you were like him? That maybe you dream of being that powerful? So Kim pauses for a second. Well, I guess sometimes. He's strong, but he never listens to me. So yeah, there are days I'd rather be him. Things would be a lot easier. He looks at her puzzled. Why are you even asking that? But High Warning shoots the question right back. Then tell me this, how did I look when I put the mask on? He shrugs. You turn into something even crazier than you already are. She rolls her eyes. I'm talking about my appearance, not my personality. He sighs. Fine, you looked freakishly huge. All muscle, shredded like some kind of monster. She flexes her arm, nodding. That makes sense. This mask turns you into the version of yourself you've always wanted to be. She explains, I train every day, but I can't really build much muscle. Although, honestly, those blue leggings tell a different story. She was very well built already. Then she adds, that old man didn't like being small. That's why when he wore the mask, he became a giant armored knight. Skim stares, half joking. So, if your theory's right, that's what the old lady wanted to be. He turns and sees the ground shaking. The old man's trembling, and the old woman is nowhere to be seen. He gulps. All right, I'll just rip that thing off her before this gets worse. But what happens next isn't scary. It's strange. The mask morphs the old woman into a pregnant version of herself. Skim's jaw drops. Wait, she wanted to have a kid? Yeah, it's weird seeing an 80-year-old woman with a baby bump, but hey, she's a mom at heart. Then we fade into a flashback. Years ago, she and her husband got the news she couldn't get pregnant. The doctor sighed, telling them to give up. Come on, dude, trying doesn't cost anything. Let them be happy. The doctor walks away, leaving the couple deflated. They move to the countryside and he tries to cheer her up with flowers. He smiles gently. Some people just have a harder time, that's all. But it's okay. We can still be happy. Just the two of us. He laughs softly. I'll be your immature son, and you can take care of me like the daughter I never had. She starts crying, overwhelmed, and he wipes her tears. See? You're already like a baby. I'll take care of you forever. It's such a sweet moment, and now, in the present, his eyes well up as he sees her transformed hand on her swollen belly. Skim, however, sees it as a golden opportunity. This is perfect. That mask makes her too fast to fight, so if I'm gonna run, now's my chance. Hai crosses her arms. No way. We're not leaving those two behind. She explains when someone's wearing the mask, they can't speak or control their body, and since we're inside a dungeon, they can't even log out. It's basically like being trapped in sleep paralysis. It's horrible. She turns to Skim. We're saving them, whether you like it or not. But when she looks back, he's already walking away casually. Right? Good luck with that. She yells after him, You're not planning to put the mask on yourself, are you? He waves her off. Not what I meant. We just need to find a way to destroy the damn thing. Hai frowns. That's easier said than done. But fine. If you're not helping, I'm taking everything. That includes the reward for killing the unique monster. That makes him stop cold. Wait, what did you just say? She smirks. Look closely at the color of its name. It's golden. That means it's extremely rare. Monsters like that always drop incredible rewards. Skim's eyes widen. Incredible, huh? He grins. All right then, Goblito. Let's do this. Hai narrows her eyes, suspicious. What's with that whip? Goblito looks uneasy as Skim cracks it in his hand. Just watch, Skim says. This is the only way to recover that mask. He strikes Goblito with the blood whip, triggering the berserk mode. He already knows how this works. Just toss him a sausage afterward and the little guy calms down. Downside, he takes a debuff that makes him weaker for a while. But as long as he doesn't faint, he'll be fine. He raises the whip again and Goblito starts running in circles, terrified. Hai mutters. He's the type who always bets everything on luck. A red glow spreads across Goblito's body, berserk mode fully active. Skim points toward the old woman. You see that granny over there? Put that mask on her and I'll give you a sausage. Goblito lunges forward, but since they're all in the same party, he can't actually deal damage. He's just tugging her hair uselessly. Skim groans. Alright, fine. Goblin throw. He hurls Goblito like a fastball straight at the old woman. The goblin spins midair and lands feet first on her face. The mask pops right off. Her husband yells her name, rushing over. She groans, dizzy but unharmed, since party members can't hurt each other. Great, Skim mutters, but what about the old man? Goblito can't stomp him either. Luckily, Hai steps forward thinking fast. Grab your wife and get out of here now. The old man helps his wife up. She's weak but breathing, and together they limp away. Skim clenches his fists. That demonic mask really is a unique monster. Next time, I'll destroy it for sure. Just then, Goblito snarls and leaps toward Hai. But she sidesteps perfectly, grabs his leg, and knees him right in the back. It does 0 damage, but Skim's jaw drops. Wait, you actually countered Goblito? Goblito's panting, drooling, looking half dead, while Hai lifts her leg high and slams it down on his head. Again, 0 damage. Skim relaxes a bit. Well, at least no one's getting hurt, but something's wrong. Berserker Goblito should be unstoppable, so why isn't he landing a single hit? Hai throws one more punch and Goblito suddenly bursts into light, exploding. The entire cave starts shaking violently. Far ahead, the elderly couple runs as fast as they can. The husband looks back, realizing there's no way out. He turns to her. I promised I'd take care of you like a child, he says softly, but I forgot that promise as we grew old. You must have felt lonely following me into a place like this. Skim stares from the distance, expecting to see some heroic comeback, but instead the collapsing cave swallows them both. The rocks crash down and Skim ends up buried beneath the rubble, staring into darkness. Hai starts calling out, trying to find Skim. Where are you? After a few seconds, a dusty hand pokes out from under the rubble, and he gives her a thumbs up like an idiot. She lets out a shaky laugh, then warns him, the demon mask is right under us, trapped beneath the rocks. I can't move. I'm stuck too. You might be the only one who can destroy it. Skim, lying twisted under debris, grits his teeth. Fine, I'll take revenge on this damn thing myself. He lifts his arm as best as he can and strikes. 18 damage. The mask trembles, cracks, and shatters into dust. Hai gasped. Her level shoots from 36 to 39, that's like killing 30,000 goblins. She realizes the monster had been powerful. Its gimmicks just made it seem impossible. Skim levels up 2 from 38 to 41, but he's frowning. Wait, where's the great reward? The big prize? A notification pops up. Item obtained. Demon mask cannot be sold or traded. He groans. Seriously? It's a bound item? He knows he has to grab it fast before someone else does or it'll vanish. Then he hears something, heavy footsteps and the ground trembling. He feels a shadow looming closer. It's Goblito, coming toward him. Skim panics. No, 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 stay back. He tries to summon the sausage to calm him down, but his arms are pinned. He can't even reach into his inventory. Why is he coming at me? He mutters. Can he see me? It's pitch dark. Maybe he doesn't recognize me. Then he notices something horrifying. Goblito's left eye is sliding out of its socket, stretching toward him like a worm. Before Skim can react, the eye latches onto his own and somehow burrows inside. He screams. Goblito screams. Hai hears both cries echoing through the cave. She turns just in time to see Skim reaching for the mask, when suddenly an explosion of power hurls him across the chamber. 9,999 damage. The wall collapses. The elderly couple glance back from the tunnel, confused but relieved. We don't know what happened, but it looks like the heavens spared us. Hai looks down from the ledge and sees Goblito crawling toward the mask. But wait, he shouldn't be able to pick it up. The scene cuts. Now Skim is yelling at Hai, furious. You brought that damn thing here. I told you we should have left it. You lying, sneaky, rotten thief. She's sweating nervously. I didn't know. I didn't realize unique items couldn't be traded. I was going to give it to you, but now it's stuck with me. Skim unloads on her, swearing, ranting, calling her every insult he can think of. Then the old man steps forward quietly. This is all the money we have. He bows, handing him a pouch. We're truly sorry for what we did. Skim folds his arms. You think I'm just gonna take money after all that? He pauses, pretending to think. Well, depends how much we're talking. Hai cuts in immediately. Skim don't. That's probably every coin they have left. But the old man shakes his head. It's fine. We're quitting this game for good. His wife nods. Yes, we'll throw away the console too. We'll spend more time together instead. Hai looks touched. You don't need to give him everything. Skim grins slyly. Oh, they do. It's important to hand over everything they've saved up. Otherwise, they'll just waste it. Then Hai leans toward the old couple, whispering quietly, you can actually exchange in-game gold for real money. Hurry and log out while he's stuck there. The two glance at each other, nod, and start logging out. Skim shouts, Hey, what are you doing? The three look back. Hai sticks her tongue out playfully before disappearing. Damn, now I want to kill her. Skim clenches his fists, veins bulging. I swear when I find her again, He cuts himself off, trembling with rage. That thick-thighed devil. The screen fades, then we cut back to Shin, standing in front of him later. Well, level 40 already? Shin says with a grin. Guess you're not as hopeless as I thought. Skim narrows his eyes. Shin continues, I can see it in your expression. You've gotten stronger. It's time I teach you a little secret. Come with me. Skim groans. Oh great, here we go again. Just skip the speech and give me the quest already. Shin ignores him. I've been waiting for someone like you, someone who fits my wavelength. Let me tell you about the 1,000-year war between humans and demons. He begins pacing as he speaks. In that war, humans were victorious. The surviving monsters and demons fled underground, into the dungeons. That's how we secured peace, for a while. But peace never lasts. Without enemies, humans began fighting each other. Skin walks into a chamber, muttering, big deal. So what? Just get to the point. Shin continues calmly. Humanity needed something to focus their hatred on. That's when they realized they needed monsters. As long as there were monsters, humans could unite under a common threat. They stop before a massive cage containing a towering creature. Skim stares. I've never seen anything like this in the city. Shin looks at it too. Throughout all history, humans have only worked together when there's a shared enemy. That's why these creatures exist. We keep them here, to make sure the world stays in balance. A war is about to break out, and to stop it, Skim has to make a choice. A lot of people are going to die because of it, but it's the only way to save even more lives. Yo, Skim, what's with the serious face? He mutters to himself. Come on, just give me the mission already. Shin's tone turns solemn. Listen, I'm going to recreate what happened during the war between humans and demons. The road ahead will be painful for both of us. Are you ready to walk it with me? The system prompt appears, cooperate or don't cooperate. Skim squints. Obviously, if I pick cooperate, I'll get the quest. But what happens if I choose not to? Shin looks at him. Think again, boy. We need you. I need you. Skim smirks and clicks, don't cooperate. Nothing happens. He clicks again. Still nothing. He mashes the option over and over. What the? Why isn't it working? Shin sighs, drawing his sword. Eventually, you'll have to cooperate, whether you like it or not. Skim raises an eyebrow. All right. I'll cooperate. Wait, hey. Shin slashes him across the chest. Blood sprays everywhere. Skim looks down in shock. He's bleeding heavily, but there's no pain. That doesn't make any sense, he mumbles. Shin's level 70. That should kill me instantly. Then he realizes, if he truly doesn't want to cooperate, maybe the only option left is to defeat Shin himself. He turns to Goblito. Wait, don't attack yet. We're just bluff. Too late. Goblito hurls a rock with all his strength. 99 damage. Wait, Shin's dead. Skim freezes as Shin collapses. You're very strong, Skim, Shin mutters weakly. That was an excellent strike. And then he fades out. Skim stands there, dumbfounded. Wait, what the hell did I just do? Now, I've got no quest giver. Cut to him wandering in a desert, trying to grind on massive crabs. Each time he gets close, zap, another player's lightning spell kills the monster first. The whole area is packed with mages farming XP. He clenches his fists. These open-world dungeons suck. To make matters worse, the Goblito bug will be patched soon. His time to farm power is running out. Suddenly, a blonde mage gets angry. Hey, who's stealing my mobs? Skim smirks, toggling PK mode on. A flash, another player down. Level 44. He's been grinding non-stop for days, wiping everything around him, but he's barely made 1,000 gold. At this rate, he's screwed. He mutters, when I got Goblito, I thought my life would change. I thought this was my big chance. So why am I still broke? As he's lost in thought, he remembers baldy words about the bug fix coming soon. Feels like someone cursed my whole damn life, he says. Then, thud, something hits him in the back of the head. The PK alert flashes. You have been attacked. Before he can react, he blacks out. He wakes up in the town square, dazed. Sunryu's standing there. What are you doing, kid? Skim blinks. Sunryu? What the hell? The old man crosses his arms. You should be thankful I healed you. Can't believe you fainted in a place like this. Did you pick a fight with someone? Skin'em shakes his head. Wait, what do you mean fainted? 1 second there was a pop-up. Next thing I know, I'm here. Sunryu frowns. Sounds like someone killed you in PK mode. Skim slams his fist down. Are you kidding me? Why is everyone in this world trying to screw me over? Sunryu raises an eyebrow. What are you been chasing, boy? What do you want out of all this? You don't have much time left before the patch hits. Skim's expression drops. He remembers. The Goblito bug's about to be fixed. His time's almost up. He mutters. I don't even know who killed me, but revenge can wait. I need gold. I need a quest. He turns to Sunryu. Hey, if I killed NPC Shin, what happens? Humphrey waves it off. Don't worry. NPCs don't die permanently. He'll respawn in the same spot eventually. Skim nods and starts to walk off, but Sunryu stops him. Hold on. Think for a second. Your Midian's insanely strong, probably the most powerful creature in the entire world. The power alone can't clear dungeons. Even the best parties take days to finish one. Those places are full of puzzles, traps, mechanics, things brute force can't solve. He sighs. The truth is, Skim, you're stuck. You won't reach a high-level dungeon in time. Even if you did, it'd take longer than the patch deadline. Skim clenches his teeth. So this is really it, huh? I finally get something good, and it's all about to disappear. Tears start running down his dirt-streaked face. When that patch goes live, my life's over. I'm nothing without Goblito. Smack. 132 damage. Skim stumbles back. What the hell, Sungryu? The old man glares. Wake up, kid. You think this is over? Remember the guild? Ivilton, the one you helped back then? They're still out there training every day, trying not to lose what you gave them. He points a finger at Skim. They want to prove they can win again. They want to prove they can surpass you. In other words, it wasn't Goblito who was the real rival, it was him. Skim had always been the one people competed against. And even if Goblito disappeared one day, he still had worth. He smacks him again. You get it now? Skim rubs his face. Yeah, I get it already. Then he looks up and calls out, Thanks, Sungryu. Sungryu raises an eyebrow, surprised to hear it. Skim blushes, embarrassed. I mean it, thanks. The old man chuckles. Don't go saying things like that unless you're ready to stand by them, kid. Cut to Catherine Lee towering, thick and confident on her live stream, shouting, All right, today's challenge, I'm doing a no-damage run against monsters in the game. Apparently, this challenge was forced on her by her own viewers through the shorts poll. She groans, You guys are insane. You see me? I'm not even an assassin, and you want me to pull this off? Her chat explodes with comments. Someone asks if she just cursed. What? Me? No. I would never curse, she says, trying to look innocent. I don't even know what a bad word is. Then she changes outfits, switching into her hyperspeed gear, stronger, sleeker, more juicy than ever, and heads into the same zone where Skim had been grinding monsters before. She arrives, scanning around. Weird. No mobs? This area is usually packed. Suddenly, a voice speaks from the shadows. If you came here to hunt, girl, you came to the wrong place. This is the land of death. No players, no monsters. It used to be peaceful, perfect for leveling up together. Everyone used to cooperate, helping each other grow. He pauses. Then one day he appeared. Catherine frowns. Who are you talking about? The stranger replies, someone who came out of nowhere and started slaughtering every monster on sight. And every time they respawn, he'd kill them all again instantly. A blinding light flashes across the sky, monsters disintegrate by the thousands, 9999 damage icons bursting everywhere. Her quest window pops up, challenge complete, take no damage. The man gestures at the scorched land. Look around. Nothing survives here. Every creature becomes his prey. If you have a problem with that, go talk to him. He doesn't hide. He doesn't run. Catherine turns and freezes. The person standing there, the one responsible for the chaos, the one who attacked Kim Chian-soo from behind earlier, is none other than Sungryu. What the hell? Why would he attack Kim Chian-soo like that? She whispers. Then her eyes widen as memories start piecing together. The bald head, that weirdly shiny egg shape, the smug tone. She's seen him before. He's the same man who handed out the quest to those adventurers, the one who leaked info about the secret dungeon. But if that's true, why did he suddenly turn on Kim Chian-soo? And more importantly, why are the two of them together again now? Wait, so the blacksmith Humphrey and Sungryu are the same person? I'm confused too. Guess that explains the shiny egg head. She starts yelling into her mic, Skim, Skim. Can you hear me? But he's too far away to respond. Her butler suddenly enters the room. Miss Catherine, what happened? The stream just cut out. Catherine exhales, crossing her arms. Perfect timing. I need a private investigator. And more beautiful than ever, she says, Skim is in danger. We need a like in this video that helps Momoro make more juicy content for his viewers. Activate the cheeky little bell, and I'm out.